Hello everyone, and welcome back to the HollowGraphic YouTube channel, your go-to place for top-tier, quality content. Today, we have a very bad stream delay, completely my fault, 100% my fault. I scheduled this 2 hours ahead of time from now, and we're waiting on one of the key VAs to come online. And I also don't have chat enabled on the screen. I'm a great YouTuber. Give me a hot second, everyone. For all of you that are in the call, they can't hear you, but you guys can talk to me. You're the voices in my head for now. You guys can talk to me. You are the voice in my head. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, let's introduce people. People are in the call. Hi, people in the call.
Hi.
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 Hello.
I'm not here.
Hi.
So, for all of you lovely people that are joining us this morning, we have a little debacle situation here. We're waiting for somebody to come in. I don't know when Gold's gonna wake up. He's idle on Discord. I'm pretty sure he's asleep. But we have a few options that we can do. I'm gonna give you guys the option one more time before I completely plunge into insanity. Put an L in the chat for Lustif. Put a C in the chat for the clock scene of real life.
C. The answer is C, chat.
I swear, this is... Hello to all the VAs. Hello to all the VAs.
C is your...
Oh
C
my
is for
god,
chat.
it's L spam!
What did you expect, you dumb shit?
I hate all of you.
Time to deafen,
This is
little
why you
one.
don't give your chat the chance to answer. You make decisions for them.
Alright, I'll say this. One of you donate at least like $20 to Streamlabs, and we'll read the first sentence.
Oh my gosh, look at you.
I've never seen so many L's.
I've never... This is...
Even to one man.
God.
Chat, why?
You did. Okay, you know what? You guys all have the link, right? Well, we're doing it. Here's a thumbnail, guys. You ready for the thumbnail? Oh, that's the wrong thumb. Shoot. That's my... there's a thumbnail.
That's your YouTube, everyone.
Oh, no.
What I will say, Hollow, is if we are going to do this, you might want to read what I've sent you in general chat.
I might want to what?
You might want to do what I've sent you in general chat.
What did you send me in general chat?
I'm trying to make you appear professional, Hollow!
Credit.
It's not happening, Wolf. I don't know what
I
you're
was going to
trying.
do that before we started reading, Wolf.
Okay, good.
Sure.
Maybe also
Sure
leave
you
them as well
were.
in the description.
Listen, Jace, I don't need your malarkey right now.
Guys.
Yes, now
We're all
you
just being honest.
Mr. fucking Media Major has a fucking Mac.
Wait, is that good?
Oh, wait. Oh, no.
Oh.
Yeah, you got it. Yep.
Just here for one thing.
Wait.
Lost stiff right now. Bye.
Yes, it's purple!
No!
Well, there was
Oh,
your
he's
grandfather.
gone.
Chat.
Get him back.
He said
Please
that,
get him.
Granddaddy Astrea, come back, please.
We need you to...
Save us! Purple, I love you, come back!
Holy shit. No, is purple not...
You guys
Dude,
are going to make me cry.
deafen. I'll force deafen you.
Deafen. Aww.
You're too wholesome.
Sweet
We can't hurt
angel.
you.
Wait, is purple actually gonna... Oh no, Kyle's, why?
Sorry, I can revoke. Hey,
It'd be
you outed me!
hilarious.
You outed me!
Isn't it obvious who's in this call?
He's in the middle of something with a friend.
Oh, that's fine. Is this friend of the female variety?
No, shut up. Purple. It's fine.
Why did you type
Please.
purple? It's fine.
Dumbasses.
No overlay?
Can.
Hear
No.
the suffering in Wolf's
Why?
voice, chat.
Why
I can
would
hear it.
why are people saying
Yes.
overlay?
Also, yeah, if we're gonna do this, can we not have this wholesome image in the background?
Please, no.
Oh my god.
Oh god, end me.
I'm gonna go Google some images.
Listen, I
Should
have
also
to...
probably change the title.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
People are just gonna go on this video like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to
It's in the
read
title.
this.
Don't worry, it's fine.
It's just gonna be less.
You'll die. You'll die.
Am I getting paid for this?
No.
Wait, what? No, you're paying Hollow for this, you dumb fuck. You.
So
you
I will say this.
I'm going to have to rethink my purchases. Yes, Wolf,
I
you're
will
correct.
say this. If the Streamlabs thing keeps going well, I don't mind splitting that with everybody here. It just might be like $5 or $10 per person.
$5?
There's a bunch of people on this project. Leave me alone.
$5.
Joking.
I'm gonna give the Prince of all sins
$5.
God, I'm getting DM'd Lustive Pog. Oh god.
All right, so we're reading from Heretic Translations, so big shout out to them for providing us with this beautiful piece of a modern literature. Here you go. There's a link.
All the VAs in this are adults. No little ones in this reading.
I'm 12.
Yep.
Mentally.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
Excuse, Kyle's. You're calling me 12 mentally, Kyle's. Excuse me.
Before you guys start, I'm gonna head out.
Okay, let me ask
Yes,
you.
Yes.
please.
Well,
We'll
add
call
you
you
when it's
back.
done.
We'll call you back.
We'll call you back,
Just at me
James.
if, like, you
Grown-ups
guys are
are
actually
in the
getting
room
serious.
disappointed in
Yes.
each other.
If we
Grow
read
up
the
and don't
clock,
We will,
see each other.
Jace.
I feel like we've disappointed Jace so much.
it's okay.
You have. You have.
Yeah, we're the perfect role models as adults.
This is
so
degenerate.
sorry, Jace.
People are spamming me. Lust if pog. If you send me hentai, I'm not reading it. You're on thin ice, all of you.
Please ruin it. Ruin it
Yo,
now, please.
damn,
I have an
nice.
idea.
Save us all.
I have an idea.
What's your brilliant idea, considering all the other ones you come up with are so good?
Here we go. Let me pull it up.
Even I have been messaged now.
No,
about
that's just false advertising, Hollow.
When is my channel ever real advertising, Wolf?
You know, when the title actually means what it says.
Okay.
YouTubers
don't
Give
you
us
read
the
something like
scripts.
Hold
love
on.
is where everything's wholesome.
Also,
if
you're gonna
you
get
in
shit
a
on for the rest of your
relationship.
life if we don't do this now.
Yeah.
This is what will happen.
Do I ruin
I
my
feel like we're
do I
just
ruin my
stalling
friendship
that.
with one of my VAs, or do I fucking do? Dude, come on. Wait, is Jace leaving the call, or is what's happening? Are they here?
Jace, we will at
It's-
you when
Okay.
we're ready.
I'm gonna deafen them.
When the time
Okay,
comes, we will
cool.
call for
Hey
you.
guys,
Okay.
welcome to Lust.
The miner is
By the
gone.
cults
But
again.
also,
Welcome to
wait,
HollowGraphic
so-
After Dark.
oh god.
Welcome to
Go
HollowGraphics.
get the jet.
Yo,
After
yo,
dark.
yo, Pat, can we
Holographic.
get like an Can we get an AlyVA 3D intro and just you saying that?
Oh my god, can we? What is a really like douchey YouTuber's name? He has like a dragon in his intro. Oh, All Those World.
Oh.
That's his name. Fuck. Do an intro like All Those World, a Dragon Ball Z recap. All right, guys. And me. Do you have it all pulled up? Do all of you have it pulled up?
Wait, so we're doing this seriously?
Yes.
I have to actually get in character.
No. You know what? No. Fuck it. You don't have to do this seriously. We're not doing this seriously.
So can I do it? What are we doing? Or we had the translation open, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Gold, if you're listening, get in the call soon, please. Please.
Stop us from ourselves.
Please.
Waking up to bright sunlight that burned his eyes had become a regular occurrence for Natsuki Subaru.
Hey, wake up! It's already morning. Wake up, step bro.
No.
Subaru took pride in being able to wake up quickly, but as he expected, these days he couldn't bring himself to move right after being awakened. It takes him some time for his brain to process the inviting sunlight, and to get away from the world of sleep. Lately, his sleep had been especially sound. That was because these days, he'd been using his mind and body to its fullest when he was awake. And that was a sign that he was making the most out of his days.
You have to wake up. Wake up! Come on, wake up!
Oh, you're so noisy! Shut up, you little shit!
Petra, your line. Petra, your line.
Did you not hear?
Crow, yes, we're
Or-
reading
oh.
Lust If. You can block me on Discord now.
A voice screamed in the Subaru's ear, not caring about how comfortable he was curled up in bed. Subaru retaliated by embracing the angry voice.
I'm done with this. So close to himself that they could feel each other's breath. After letting out a noise, it
Ew.
sounded as though a frog had been crushed. Thanks to Pei. The owner of the voice was pulled into
Frog.
bed with Subaru. It was a chilly morning, so the close contact with human skin provided just the right amount of warmth.
I'm about to go to jail. I'm waking myself up. But going back to sleep with a with a little girl in my arms sounds peaceful. Don't you agree?
I don't mind.
Petra, whose voice had been spirited moments before, easily brought into Subaru's sweet talk. They laid in bed together for a long time. You're going to jail. Even though Petra usually had a strong personality, whenever she got pampered by Subaru, she would show her childlike side. That's exactly what Subaru found so endearing about Petra. He was starting to push his luck a bit too much.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good girl. You can.
You are
You
my
can
little
spend the rest of the morning with me, in.
But the Duchess is in charge of making your breakfast today. If you stay any longer, she might get angry at you.
Petra, why are you laughing?
I don't know.
Subaru's sense of comfort was drained away when he was told about Krush making him breakfast. He was afraid of what might happen if Krush found out about him choosing to sleep in, overspending time with her. With no choice but to get up, Subaru hugged the girl in his arms one last time as hard as he could. I wish that was me. And then jumped up and down on his luxurious bed.
You know what? This just proves something to me.
What?
Before we continue, the logistics of an actual harem, realistically, would be so stressful for the dude. Yeah.
Yep.
Hurry up and read so we can finish this, please. I'm dying.
Or we can just keep getting distracted
And
and
I'm
talking about
up.
the logistics of harems.
Oh, it looks like another beautiful
you're up?
day of doing things.
Subaru bounced on the springs of his bed and then bent down slightly. He looked down at the girl still in his bed that had been dragged in by... Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. I'm not reading Felt's part. One of you can read Felt's part, because the way that Felt's described... Fuck no, I'm not reading that. Nope. No,
I thought it was already in my
me.
Go back.
Okay. Yeah, Pat, it's out of my thing now.
It literally describes how
Oh,
she's
yeah.
sitting on the bed, spread for Subaru, and I'm not reading that.
We can just stop, you know?
Subaru, you're lying. Subaru, you're
Why don't
lying.
we skip over all the young ones?
Oh yeah, we can. Let's go to Krush.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
just make it okay.
You're late.
That sounds good.
No! You're not Bruce.
That
You're
your
late.
Napa
Hold
voice
up.
for this.
Something's wrong here.
What's wrong?
That's not Krush.
Okay, well, somebody can do Krush's voice.
Yeah, it's already been
You're
assigned.
late.
No, it's already
so
been
late.
assigned.
Go for it.
Listen to Petra, everyone.
I don't want to.
You're late.
The first thing that greeted Subaru as he entered the dining room was a delighted, dignified, I'm dyslexic, voice. One that clearly made it known that she was in a bad mood. The threatening edge in her voice made Subaru break out in a cold sweat. What a pussy. He then smiled to try not to give away the fear he was feeling, raised his hand, and said...
Did Julius just call me a pussy? Sorry. I guess I was just a little tired this morning. I can't seem to get up.
What a load of nonsense. Don't lie to me. Did you forget that I could tell whether you're lying or not?
You dumb bitch.
I'm sure you... I'm sure you were spending your time... Oh my god. I'm sure you were spending time with someone who went to wake you up this morning.
It was me, JMT. Subaru turned his head and whistled as he tried to avoid her sharp glare. He had actually been flirting with Julius, and no matter which maid had come to wake him up in the morning, there would have been some flirting.
Well, in any case, this proves that the Lord is displeased with our promise. I can't blame you for treating me the way you did.
but I was flirting with Julius.
Why does Krush
No.
have so much dialogue? This is a fucking
I didn't
harem.
mean it that way.
There is no need to console me. I know that I'm not a pretty girl.
What?
Unlike Julius and the other women around you. I've never been very...
Anastasia does call him a delicate maiden.
I rock a maid
Very
outfit.
active, except for when I came swinging my sword. I know very little about dressing up or wearing makeup. It's no wonder I can't... Oh my god.
I can't satisfy him either. It's perfectly fine.
It's no wonder I can't satisfy you.
Vegeta, are we reading Lustiff?
I'm reading it right now. The words of self-deprecation are probably due to the large number of concerns that have been piling up day after day. It didn't take much for the dam to break.
Wait, Vegeta.
All it was to be released.
All of her feelings of
Release.
dissatisfaction came pouring out. And it was definitely Subaru's fault for not realizing
You
it
know
until
what
now,
release
Vegeta.
means, Nappa.
I do, Vegeta. Let's let them talk.
Oh,
Let's let
it's
them
a very
talk.
beautiful thing.
Let's let them
Nappa.
talk, Vegeta.
My apologies.
What are you doing?
Whoa. You can swing a sword? Whoa. If you can read my mind,
What are you reading?
surely you have to know why I'm doing this.
Don't tease me.
Vegeta! He was trying to tease her, Vegeta. That's not very nice.
I could see Nappa. He was getting real close. He was almost at second base.
She turned her face away as she was being held in Subaru's arms. Instead, she
Oh,
shakes her
loser.
shoulders. As if she was ashamed of being held. Vegeta! I wouldn't be ashamed of being held, Vegeta. But there wasn't
want me
much
to hold you,
effort.
Nappa?
Yes, Vegeta. In her resistance.
Oh, come here, Nappa.
Keep going. Keep going. Fucking hell.
Where were we?
The
But there
only
wasn't
thing-
much effort in her resistance.
Oh.
Yeah.
The only thing I can see is the wind. I can understand your surface thoughts, but I have no way to read someone's mind. All I see is the wind.
Well, I'm thinking of something you might find embarrassing.
Vegeta, tell him to shut up!
It looks like he's about to show her his sword.
My bad of ruining everyone's day is for the work.
embarrassing. I can't see it.
There was a slight giggle coming from the lady being held in Subaru's arms. He glanced down
What?
and his gaze intertwined with, is that like Crush Soda, Vegeta? Like Crush Soda? I like
I
Crush
was
Soda.
wondering if her sword was bigger than his.
Ah.
When I first thought.
I would say yes, Vegeta. I would say yes.
I could see that.
Their
He
faces
looks
were
like
close.
a wimp.
Vegeta, I'm narrating. Their faces were close, Vegeta. So close that they could feel each other's breath. So, Subaru decided to answer her insecurities in a way that was more, Vegeta, what's that word? Eloquent? Elegant?
Sorry,
Is
Nappa,
that
I
a
wasn't
Pokemon?
reading.
Elegant.
I'm looking at my power scouter.
Than his
Out of
words
power
could ever
level.
be. Fuck. Why do we have more viewers in the live readings? What the fuck?
Best
They're
lifted
always-
reading ever.
Bruh.
He could feel their lips connecting and the feeling of her
Her tongue overlapping
with
his
his
in a
reserved manner. He could feel the heat of her breath mingling into his, subby rubby nut boy, and his ears started burning as Krush begged Subaru to chew her.
Hit her!
That's worse.
Their lips were locked for a moment, Vegeta. And then, without warning, they parted, breaths uneven. When he saw her eyes moisten, the fact that he had made a woman with normally noble appearance have such a lustful expression made his face made his insides burn. The thought that he was the only person who could see her make that face, his whole body heated up. Vegeta, I think he's gonna die. Subaru stretched out his arms to be even closer to her.
That's enough for this morning. Push.
Go, Vegeta.
I've lost our place. Where are we right now?
But his arms were quickly blocked by Krush.
But his arms were. Oh, there we go. But his arms were quickly blocked by Krush, who quickly blinked away the passion that had been in her eyes. I can't read Nappa. You should know this by now.
With no more
Oh, God.
outlet for
All
his
right.
sensual arousal,
Sensual arousal, Nappa.
Subaru opened and closed his outstretched hands, irritatedly. Why is he irritated? Then he looked resentfully at his partner. Doesn't he have more than
I
one?
gotta look at you.
Nah. Who showed her usual dignified smile.
If I let this get out of hand, it will interfere with our plans for the rest of the day. Moreover, the Lord's work can no longer be handled by me alone, so we can. Oh my god!
This is the most tame one out of all of them too.
I'm gonna die. Okay.
Vegeta, he's gonna die. Let's take over the show.
Oh, I mean,
So you want to be cute and indulge every once in a while?
But this sounds too painful to read.
Say it again. Well, I didn't quite catch that.
You heard what he said.
He's whispering in the mic. Wolf.
Oh, okay, baby, just for you.
Oh my, no.
Don't you want cute and indulge every once in a while?
Oh yeah! Meet me in my room after work.
Fucking hell.
I feel like the bromance is stronger in this now. And
We're offsetting it. We're heavily offsetting it because I don't want people to actually enjoy this. So
yeah, we're going full hetero. We got to also get that homo in, and I appreciate.
I don't
that.
discriminate here on the HollowGraphic YouTube channel.
We don't discriminate,
and neither should you.
Oh my gosh!
All right,
this
KG.
You guys got lots of quota coming.
I've already told you, I'm not a pretty girl. I'm not like other girls.
Oh, I disagree.
Although it is tempting to forget about my responsibilities and to spend the day lazing around.
Can't they just shut the fuck up and move scenes already? Please?
Like, they have to, like, go back and forth about, I'm not pretty enough. Yes, you are. I'm not pretty enough.
I want to believe that
yes,
Tappei. I want to believe that
Tappei
Tappei met with the Konosuba author and they were drunk off their ass when they wrote this. I want that to be.
No, I'm pretty sure this was entirely a joke. Like,
all right,
this story.
Your line.
Yes. Well, time for some ASMR, everyone.
Oh, fuck me.
It's a good idea to show your feminine side. You know, at key points like this.
The hand that Subaru had held out as a last-ditch effort was lightly slapped away. I can whisper too. While waving around the hand that was struck, Subaru turned around and looked back.
People think that that's Lightning doing the Nappa voice.
Oh, my Nappa voice is like it's friggin'. Let's eat. I put enough effort into making the food for the Lord. I'm particularly proud of what I made this morning. You can take your place back, Krush. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Subaru, continue.
What?
I'm not reading.
Fuck.
Where the hell's gold?
It would be typical of Krush to make the best food without trying to. What?
Subaru slumped his shoulders and walked over to the dining table, where a savory aroma stimulated his hunger. Krush spread her hands out proudly, pleased with herself for a job well done.
I know that you're a busy man, but let me at least have a moment of your time at a table like this. Wait.
Yep.
And let me have the Lord all to myself. I'm sorry for being so selfish.
Yeah, so he's King of Lagunica.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Harm.
I'm not gonna have an argument about this like I did the other time.
Please don't. Actually, no, please do, so everybody forgets we read this after.
Okay, I will. You say that you're being selfish. Well, I think you're just being too cute, my wife.
Wait, Subaru? There's more than one of us?
When they sat down at the big
God,
dining
I'm really
table,
scared. I don't want her to use her sword on me.
Let's just say Subaru has stuffed many a turkey.
Reinhard, I think that we should not associate with Mr. Subaru anymore.
Yo, get over here, boys! I'm gonna enjoy you too.
A wonderful idea, Julius.
Would you like to go out for drinks later, since both our masters have left us because of him?
Yes, I feel rather lonely these nights.
I would rather
Is
be
it
with your
a boys'
father.
night?
Something
When
else.
am I invited?
I would rather be with your father than spend another moment with this thing and his harem, as he calls it.
Yes, my father is pretty great. Daddy Astrea knows how to give it to me.
When they sat down at the big dining table, Krush sat down right next to Subaru. Wow, like she usually did, but it's a big table. That's weird. She glanced towards Subaru and watched as he took a first bite of his meal. that she'd prepared. Who else would have
Wait,
prepared?
I'm confused. Why do these Earthlings sit at a table to eat dinner?
I don't know.
Not just eat it on the way.
He then took his first bite, and as thought, it was what? And as though it was the rule, he exclaimed. Damn it!
Ah!
No, you have a lot.
It's great!
So great
Sausage flakes.
that he thought it wasn't fair to the others, because Krush doesn't cook for them. They're all starving.
She doesn't cook.
The faint anxiety that had been in Krush's eyes disappeared, and Subaru took another bite of his meal.
The next one,
Is that supposed
I
to be
hate.
an innuendo? Or is that, like, actually the
Oh,
meal?
it's Ram. No, this is actually wholesome. Okay, holy shit.
Great.
Wait,
we have
this is
serious
wholesome?
reading.
Yeah,
What?
this is wholesome. Welcome to Synarch Bishop's Beatrice. Cool. Thank you for upgrading for this reading. This is
Almost
so
a
cursed.
professional graphics.
You got this, Ram.
We could just skip
and-
wholesome Ram and go straight to Priscilla.
No.
Okay, somebody use their deepest voice for Priscilla this weekend.
Oh wait. Okay, let me
Oh,
let
can
me
I
see
play
let me see a
Priscilla
Priscilla
then?
line.
Can
And
I
I'll
Have some
read it.
free time, Subaru.
Oh, new technology. What does it do?
Where's Krill?
Hey, what's poppin', baby? My name's Crew.
He's there!
178 people watching right now.
183 right now on my
You're all
end.
despicable.
Okay.
You're despicable.
Give me a voice to read for this one. Who do I talk as for Ram? Because she's wholesome as hell. This is actually really wholesome.
What? We already have
Yo, can we
the
get-
rules
can we get
assigned.
Patrick's
No, the narrating
I
part.
can. Oh, I could. Yeah, I could narrate as Petra.
Yes!
Vegeta, we're giving it to this little girl. She said her name was
Nappa,
paddleboarding?
do not say that sentence like that. Do you want Frieza to come after
What?
us right now?
Did I say something
Is that
wrong?
what you want?
Oh no.
You said it completely wrong.
We're allowing this
100% wrong.
we're allowing this Earthling girl to narrate for us.
Oh, Nappa, we're gonna go now.
Okay.
Get my ship ready. We're leaving this
Sure, I'll
planet.
go a voice.
You so much, Alien Samas.
What?
I don't know. I've never seen Dragon Ball.
Where did we skip to?
Where
are we?
We're on the next part. I think Kyle's is sorry. Who I'm so used to saying there. Fuck.
They all know who it is. It's all good.
Chug Jug is gonna be reading.
Chug. Yes, and then after we should do Roswell narrator again.
Because of official business, Super was struggling with a pile of papers on his desk.
Hey, that's a of course.
Okay, before I was rudely interrupted. No matter how much I work at it, there's no end in sight. Oh, it's a common scene in manga and anime, but I hadn't expected to have to do this in real life.
Work while you mumble, Barasu. Your break was long enough to get back to work, fool.
You've seen how much work I've done, and all you're still saying.
After running through one of the piles of paperwork, he was left with only 4 mountains to deal with. However, a wide mountain range of paperwork was mysteriously added when Subaru noticed the number of mountains in front of him. It increased. Yeah, it got more. They got bigger. The mountains got bigger. He thrust out his quill and said, "Subby rubbing up, boy."
Oh, I did. Do you really think you can keep treating me like that? Do you have any idea how much power I have in this country right now? I think it's about time you start treating me like I'm still a butler.
I wanna die.
You're the one who forgot that you can't even stand properly without the people around you propping you up. If Ram were to abandon Barasu here, who would help you ghostwrite these papers? You should know your place, peasant.
I'm sorry, Nisama! Please don't abandon me! Don't leave! Help me!
I told Ram she should have left long ago. He immediately went back to his to his words.
Wait, is Roswell part of my harem?
I left. I ran away. You're paying for the mansion's debts now.
He's the one that got away.
Threw his body on the
got
desk and
away.
begged for help, abandoning all of his pride. Subby rubbing up, boy. Seeing that, the pink-haired maid snorted. Snort, Ram. Snort, damn you.
Kinky fast.
It's the most memey shit I've ever done.
Do you want this to be serious? I don't know.
Ramses.
No.
Ramses.
No, I don't.
No matter what your
Ram.
position is, Barasu seems to say, it's no time you stop its exchange. There's a better use of your time.
I'm flattered by your generosity, Nisama. If someone else saw this scene, you'd be in big trouble. I'm bowing down to a maid! That would be a scandalous story on the front page of every newspaper.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Ram is on top and Barisu at the bottom.
You tell him, Ram! I raise you well.
Yes,
Your
well,
real piece of work this summer. Ara.
it's an unquestionable truth. I don't see the problem. There you go.
When she heard Subaru's voice quiver in an unmanlike manner as he usually did, Ram exhaled in disgust. Exhale, damn you! She then put a spare chair next to Subaru's desk and pulled out a quill and pen and hold it from the desk. She pulled it from the desk and now it's in her hand.
Ram will take care of the papers as she can write for you. All that Ram needs from Barisu is confirmation, so please answer verbally when you are asked.
Wait, he's illiterate?
Yeah, he's still illiterate.
Fuck's sake.
Oh,
It's king.
You don't
Alright.
need to read when you have a harem.
Thanks for the help. Oh, this country wouldn't be able to run so well without you, Nisama.
Damn straight.
Show your gratitude by changing your attitude, bitch.
What are you talking about? Why was that bitch necessary, Nisama?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be courteous of you to address me by my name, followed with Sama?
That's another scene that could get me in trouble, you know? I don't want another wife! Please! No more! No more!
In any case, unlike Subaru, who was bitching like a little stubby rubbing up boy, who isn't able to work with his hands while he talks because he's illiterate, Ram's paperwork was advancing at an unbelievable pace. Subaru had heard that... Is that gold, please? Please tell me that's gold.
No.
No!
It's Otto.
I would like a petition that would change one of the females to Otto.
Subaru had... Can you play Priscilla?
I've never been welcomed so poorly before.
Subaru had heard that Ram had previously worked behind the scenes at the Roswell mansion. My mansion used to be mine, damn it! Taking care of some of the paperwork on behalf of Roswell. Me, Roswell Mathers.
What is happening?
He had never witnessed her work. And
Lustiff.
he was surprised at first. We're dead-ass reading
Did you
Lustiff.
guys? So you guys like didn't start it because like no one was here today.
I scheduled the time extremely wrong. We're waiting for Gold to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So it didn't even start. Good, because I wanted to like be here even if I don't narrate anything.
Well, we're gonna read this Lustiff, and hopefully Gold's up by then. And there's 180 concurrent people watching us do this.
Oh, doing an amazing job.
God. Why can't you people come during the actual shit?
Keep going.
Keep going,
bringing people
Subaru.
in.
Subaru, you're slouching a little bit. Straighten up, you little stubby rubbing up boy.
Okay, I'm doing it! Shut up, Roswell! Why is this voice inside my head? You're not slouching even a little bit, are you?
I knew something
Ram
was
feels as though she's being judged dishonorably.
No. I'm complimenting you. It's just that most people would slouch at least a bit.
I'm going to approve this position from a radical political group to get even.
Stop it!
Although he thought about checking on her work, Ram handled her work quickly and at her own discretion. And Subaru decided not to bother her any more than he already had. This was a sign of the trust Subaru had in Ram. He knew that there was no need to correct her. Subaru glanced at Ram's profile as she looked at the document. Stop staring at her, damn you! As always, there was a tense, blank expression on her face. Her soft face and somewhat childish appearance hadn't changed since they had first met. Her smile was beautiful as a flower, but only bloomed once in a year, if at all.
You're slowing down again, Barisu.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at Ram. Did you just click your tongue? Ram would have blushed and made a cute face.
I'm warning you. Stop comparing Rem and Ram. It'll mess with my head.
What?
What is it, I suppose? Oh, no.
Everything comes out.
What is it, I suppose?
That's not.
Where are we on YouTube right now?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay. Well, no, I wondered if you moved to Twitch yet. My bad.
Nope. She glared at him with cold eyes, and a cold sweat rolled down his back. Super hadn't realized that mentioning Ram's name would be seen this bad, but he wasn't going to do it again if it angered her. He just didn't understand why she got angry when she's the one who usually put Ram's need over her own.
It's not that I was comparing you to Ram. I was really
You
just
were.
fawning over you,
Damn
Ram.
you.
if you didn't speak rudely, didn't move around so much, if I didn't already know your unpleasant personality, you'd be super cute.
Flirting, chat.
Subaru can't handle dominant women.
No.
No, I think it's making Subaru sweat, and he's a bit nervous.
His palms are sweaty.
Arms
are heavy.
If you talked with Ram, watched Ram move more graciously, and got to know Ram's personality better, she would transcend above being adorable. I'll make sure to tell Amelia some and the others that you told me.
Don't make it sound like I was hitting on you! I didn't say any of those things, did I? But
You
I was
were.
definitely hitting
For
on you in this
shame!
scene!
Stone him to death in the public square. Her exceptionally high self-esteem and low opinion of Subaru hadn't changed at all. Good. However, he understood sometimes that she used this as a facade to hide her true emotions. Subaru could forgive her comments since she used them to hide her embarrassment.
You're giving Ram an unpleasantly warm look again, Barisu.
Oh, really? Well, I'm sorry about that.
Subaru turned his gaze away from Ram and back to his paperwork so that she wouldn't get angry at him, but he can't read. Subaru enjoyed the conversation.
Warm.
But he wouldn't be able to follow his schedule if he didn't finish looking through the paperwork. Work is work, and once it's done, he could have fun.
Please don't compare Ram and Rem that way. It sounds as though you see Ram in the same way you do Rem.
Subaru, immense in his work, continued looking at the papers, completely oblivious to what Ram had muttered to herself. What an idiot. The only sound that could be heard was the scratching of quills sliding over white papers. Who wants to read Priscilla's? This is very not PogChamp. So is the next one. Not very PogChamp.
I can do any character.
Wait, you mean like this is about to get oof?
I was thinking Otto could do Felt, and Reinhard maybe can do Priscilla.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah.
I'll warn
Okay.
you, Felt is the worst. Literally the worst out of all of them.
Yeah, that's good. I'm the worst.
Guys, I don't see the
please.
donation that I asked for this. $20.
Also, I think people also think your Roswell's impersonation also sounds like Jesse from Pokemon. Because there's a bunch of Meowth. That's right. Yeah, you get a lot of that in the chat.
Team Rocket's blasting off
Jesse.
again.
Oh my gosh! Someone said imperfect cell.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. No.
Let's
freak.
get down to business to destroy
the
the world.
What?
It's a Team 4-star parody. Okay, who's reading good old
I guess it's me that's reading Priscilla.
Priscilla?
If someone could
Priscilla.
send me the
Hell
if,
yeah!
I'd
If somebody could
read
what?
it. Send me the if.
It's in
It's
the
already
general.
up
Oh,
in general.
yeah.
Is,
I sent it. Just scroll up.
Hollow, are you gonna try to narrate this one?
The
You
door
gonna
was
narrate
roughly
this
thrown
one again?
open, and Subaru's face paled as he heard the words of the person who entered. He dropped his gaze. I can't do an Al voice. No.
Was about to do. He dropped his gaze to try and get back to checking the items on the table
I
in
can do
front of
salad
him,
fingers.
so he
do
hasn't
that.
seen
Oh gosh.
her butt.
The door was roughly thrown open, and Subaru's face paled as he heard the words of the person who entered. He
I hate
dropped his
that.
gaze and tried to get back to checking the items on the table in front of him, as though he hadn't seen her, but...
I'm uncomfortable.
Stop pretending not to hear your mistress. It's disrespectful.
Yo, where'd you go that for, Priscilla? Hold up. Boy! You don't have to throw everything upside down, you fucking brute!
In response to being ignored, Priscilla had flipped the table with her foot, leaving all the objects that had been thrown on the floor in a large bang. Subaru hurriedly put the table back and picked up the fallen items. Luckily, there was nothing fragile enough to break from the impact, but it scared the life out of him. Subaru let out a sigh of
You should be
relief after
scared.
confirming that all the items had been picked up and were safe and sound. Then, he stared at the person who kicked the table in the first place, Priscilla, a girl in a red dress who was acting as assertive as ever.
I don't know why I went British.
You know what? I will narrate some of this as well.
Oh.
I have a lot of work I need to finish today, you know? I've told you several times now to give me a heads up when you want to come and see me that way. I can prepare myself.
No, Wolf, stop!
Wolf, stop!
Don't
My
be
ears.
silly. My spare time is entirely dependent on my mood. So why should I have to accommodate your schedule? Know your place.
Why are you sounding like Rom? Why are you sounding like Rom?
Why do you sound like
Oh, that's what you got of this? I got the.
Yo,
the freaking-
Rom is the best, mate. What are you talking about?
got the elder from
Reading
Namek.
Liliana?
His voice,
Oh, okay.
please. Make this
Well, you're the one who should. Why won't the self-centered women around me change how they treat me, even after my position changes? I am being treated like some honorary king by any chance.
Nonsense, that would be boring. Moreover, your words and actions are especially lacking in elegance. You cannot possibly persuade anyone of the likes of royal principles if you walk so unsteadily with that kind of behavior. You've overthrown the mistress and,
Oh my
despite usurping the throne, this unpleasant state of affairs is so deplorable it makes me want to quarter you.
Why do you sound like Saruman from Lord of the Rings?
I have a question for the chat. Why are there more of you here than are actual, like, well put together,
It's for the
professional
meme, it's for the meme,
live
lady.
reading?
like screwing around because
They're here for the cracks, so they are. They're here
With
for
a cool glint in her eye, Priscilla gave a bored look to the loud Subaru. As usual, she was acting overly arrogant. Subaru often found dealing with Priscilla tiring, but today the fundamental part of her argument made sense. At the very least, it was true that Subaru's current position was only obtained after putting his wife's wishes aside.
What a disappointing hobby. What in the world were you doing to ease your boredom?
It's not like I'm just killing time.
Stop!
This is a collection of brand new technologies created for various magical ores that you can find in cities and countrysides.
Oh, new technology. What does it do?
She sound like a caveman.
Oh, Priscilla like to. Well, for example, random caveman has entered my room. Let's see.
To answer Priscilla's question, from the items laid out on the table, Subaru picked up a small metal box-like object that fit in the palm of his hand. She narrowed her eyes, and as she was about to ask for an explanation, Subaru lightly tapped the bottom of the small box. Then, with a small sound, a blue flame lit up from the top of the box.
Oh, Stitch can read really well.
So, it's portable timber.
Yeah,
It's portable!
Not home time. It's called a lighter. We use these babies to fucking hotbox like you wouldn't believe.
420, blaze it!
Yeah, Stitch, yeah!
Lilo, come get Stitch, please.
I can go get Nugget and she can be
I
Lilo.
can't believe you.
Stitch F?
Becoming popular. People will be able to cook food without magic. With a lighter! All magic stones. And it can even be used as a small source of light. Not like they already have a way to do that, but it can also make it a lot easier to start fires outside.
Where are we? Wait, I left.
Well, I think there will definitely be some distasteful idiots who will get all excited only to burn down a building or two.
Priscilla put forward a serious concern. There was almost no way to guess that what she was going to do from the way she talked or acted, but that didn't change the fact that she was far more intelligent than most. Subaru stared at the lighter. She stared. Oh my god. Oh, she stared at the lighter in Subaru's hand.
You put a small piece of magic ore inside. You cannot activate the device by tapping the bottom of the device and start the fire. But if the device is damaged, then the slightest bit of overheating might cause the whole thing to pop. And it might even pop with its perfect condition. If you have to replace them often, it may take a lot of time for them to be used in cities.
Oh, why all the
All
women
the
around me so
deficiencies that
possibly
Priscilla had
immaculate?
listed were exactly the same points that the artisans had said needed improvement. You could say that Priscilla had a good eye for being able to find them at just a glance. Or you could say that Priscilla was exceptionally good at finding someone's weaknesses.
Well, in
SpongeBob,
any
what are you
case,
doing over there?
if you went through the trouble of showing me that one first, that means that the device you're most confident in, right? If this is your best, then they show me the quality of.
Hey! Shut up!
You shut up!
You goddamn woman! You know what? Challenging the unknown and inventing new technologies has always been seen as a devout romance. What?
You want my romance, then you have to pop
Hold on,
pumping
guys.
iron.
Pause. You want to say hi, Lilo? I'm talking at Stitch. You can do a Lilo line. I don't know. You got this. Just.
You got this.
You good?
What do I say?
I don't know. Say anything.
Itch is troubled. He needs dessert.
Yeah. Read.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just read this.
Subaru clenched his fist as he refuted Priscilla's attitude on the fact that she didn't understand the deep.
You tell him! Yeah! Then he tapped the bottom of the ladder again.
You're weird. You're being weird.
To show off the blue flame.
Huh? Wait, I can't get it to work? This is my fucking job and I can't even do it right!
People of YouTube.
Hello.
Aww.
Hi, Nugget!
Most wholesome thing that will be part of this reading.
If Gold wakes up anytime soon, this will be very wholesome.
You've already stumbled onto a flaw. I don't think you are this much of an idiot, but it would be ridiculous to expect anything more from.
Thanks for the coffee. Where are we? Where are we?
Priscilla's expression, which had looked bored as she spoke to Subaru, suddenly sharpened as the end of her sentence rose a pitch. A moment later, she slapped with the tip of the fan she had pulled out from between her breasts. Is that not where we are?
My breasts are huge.
The top of the lighter in Subaru's hand was blown off to the side by the force of the fan, leaving it to explode a moment later.
Between her breasts.
Between my breasts.
Subaru gasped at the large breast that appeared in the corner of the room.
Happy ReZero Day, everyone.
You know what's having a happy ReZero Day right now is Subaru.
I would want to die if I was in this situation.
We're going to have a fun time tonight, Subaru-kun.
Oh god, help me!
Beatrice, I want you to remember that this is Subaru. This is how he really is. Remember that. And pick Julius.
Oh.
This was a great opportunity. This was a great opportunity for us to witness its biggest flaw, and its developers would have been severely punished. I do not know. You are more important than anyone else in this kingdom, and yet you put your life in jeopardy. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, guys. My life's just going down the drain.
I wouldn't go that far, but
If Priscilla hadn't slashed at the
lighter with her quick reactions,
I'll fucking do it again.
Pretty badly, and there was also the possibility of the metal exploding and seriously crippling him. Checking that he hadn't gotten any scratches.
Oh gosh, Mickey!
What is this scream?
Mickey murder. I love murder.
This is inside my head.
Can anybody do a Donald?
No.
What the fuck is going on?
Can Priscilla can we skip Anastasia's part completely? Don't ruin her for me.
Oh no!
Let's just skip Anastasia.
We're ruining everyone. We're definitely ruining
everyone.
Can we just skip to the point? Can we just skip to the point where things get okay?
You guys want to just skip
I'll read
to
Anna
Anastasia
as
right
Morgana.
now?
I can do Anastasia's voice.
Okay.
Let Hollow do it.
Natsuki-kun.
Who? Huh? What?
And just like that, Subaru was turned on.
We're just Otto. Are you narrating?
At the Anastasia part now.
I'm felt, yes.
Are we just skipping the end of Priscilla? Because I don't want to read her singing in Subaru's lap and being like, ooh woo.
Yeah, no, we're done with that.
It's not going to be ooh.
Don't say ooh woo.
Okay,
we'll just read the
I want
final
to hear
line.
Pat say ooh woo.
Subaru's tongue extended to meet the red tongue in front of him.
Okay, here we go.
Hold on, where are we?
We're stopping. You're free, Pat.
I don't know. Yes,
Wait.
I don't know. I'm confused.
We safe?
Pat, give an ooh-woo when you're done.
Ooh, woo.
Yes!
Yeah!
Well, don't you look tired? I take it you didn't sleep well, Natsuki-kun? My kid?
Yeah, I've been too busy at night. But actually, I think
I can buy all the rest of the girls.
What?
Oh my gosh.
I knew Anastasia had weird kinks, but this is going too far.
Just read your line, damn it.
You're the one who started it, and I finished it. I've been so busy with work that I'm not used to doing. What? And my personal life hasn't been any more relaxing. No, I chose to do this. Oh, I'm such a martyr.
I think your sense of responsibility is one of the best things about you, Natsuki-kun. Kiss me.
Anastasia was sitting on the sofa in front of Subaru and gave him a soft smile. Subaru responded with a weak smile of his own and focused his gaze at the table in between the two of them. Scattered on it is a stack of papers that Subaru was getting tired of looking at. However, this time, it was not official paperwork, but rather a hobby that he had.
Thanks to Natsuki-kun's help, the Hoshin Trading Company is now the most influential company in Kawaragi, and I could proudly show my face in Lagunica. I'm sure that you'll be happy to hear that you've helped a bunch of people in the process.
I didn't do that much, honestly. It's a result of Anastasia's
significant
financial.
Shut up!
Natsuki-kun.
Natsuki-kun.
Anastasia interrupts Subaru's words with a smile. She simply kept smiling at him while playing with the tips of her hair. However, in Subaru, that smile was completely different for some reason, and it took his breath away.
After a moment of silence, he let out the breath he hadn't realized he had been holding inside.
Otto, I'm about to punch you.
That is quite
okay.
Read, Subaru, damn it.
Okay, yeah. It's the result of Anna's efforts!
Well, is it because of my lack of effort that you still haven't gotten used to calling me Anna? Even if it reminds you every time. Or can you not forgive this lady for leaving her room empty for a few weeks before coming back to see you like this?
You say that, but I still call Cruise-chan sometimes, especially the time that you're thinking about right now.
That's exactly what's so funny. Why'd you bring her up?
I like her more than you.
Krush-san, she's so love-struck in front of Natsuki-kun. If you think you're maintaining the same degree of dignity as Krush-san by calling her that, then you're really not able to see yourself. Say her again.
Anastasia put her
Stop.
hand
God,
over her mouth and tried to hide her widening smile. After Subaru called her name,
Dip his voice.
It seemed to have put her in a good mood. Seeing this, Subaru leaned back in relief.
Kanda, stop! We're alone together, and you said another girl's name. Points deducted.
But she's so much sexier than... I mean, isn't this too harsh?
I heard that. It's common knowledge to set clear lines that can't be crossed both in business and in personal relationships. Since I've started being with Natsuki-kun, have you ever heard me mention another man's name? Even once?
She gave a stern look, and Subaru crossed his arms, currently at a loss for words. He looked up to the ceiling, trying to remember if it happened before.
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe I just, forgot.
It's good to be like this every once in a while. It's been a long time since I've been here before, but I think I might leave now since you're bringing up Krush over me.
When Subaru averted his gaze, Anastasia walked around the table and sat down next to him. Her hand suddenly reached down and grabbed Subaru's hand, and a trace of red appeared on her pale cheeks as she smiled. Anastasia was pale, so when she got embarrassed, she would tell her all red all the way to her neck. Seeing this made Subaru realize how much courage she mustered up and made her love for her grow even more.
I thought you said that today you were going to talk about the results of your investments and your significant financial assets.
Now you want me for my financial assets? There's no way I was going to make a mistake with the most important money entrusted to me by the second most important person in the world, Natsuki-kun. Trust me on that, okay? Yeah? You can't even read.
Money is a higher priority. Shut up, I'm reading right now!
Young love.
Money is a higher priority than I am. I guess you really are, Anna, aren't you?
But first and second place are really close. However, there's a huge gap between second place and third place that nothing will ever be able to cross. So I hope you'll find it in yourself to forgive me.
Her?
Get cocked.
eyes sparkled with mischief. Something that only happened when she was counting money or when she was spending time close to Subaru. He wasn't sure whether he should be happy or sad that she was being ranked so close to money.
What is it?
Nothing. Subaru stroked Anastasia.
It's cock! With his other hand, his fine long penis was as soft as the hair on a baby animal. Anastasia, who was also being caressed, closed her eyes and put her head on Subaru's penis as if she were a dildo. Wait, that didn't make sense.
I'm muting content.
I'm crying.
I'll read your line, damn it.
Well, you put them next to absolutely unshakable values, don't you?
Mention fish again, I'll kill you.
You put them.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Alright, who's reading Felt? I swear to God, is it Kanda?
It's me! It's me! It's me!
No.
Well, I'm gonna narrate for this as well.
You can't narrate, you have to do Subaru.
Do you want it?
But I want to do both!
Guys, I'm gonna give you a fair warning. This is the worst out of all the girls. The absolute worst.
Get ready to get down and dirty, chat.
Felt is going to be betrayed so
I
poorly.
can't believe Subaru-kun chooses her over me.
Alright, I'm starting.
I can't believe he
mad
chose
sus,
her
I
over
suppose.
me.
Oni-chan, you're gonna go to
happened to
house
Priscilla's
control
voice?
now.
When Subaru returned to his room, he was greeted by Felt's harsh words as she lay comfortably on his bed.
What are you trying to
Subaru
sound
took
like?
off his jacket, loosened his tie, and walked over to Felt while unbuttoning his shirt. Once he got close to Felt, she sat up on the bed.
Whoever's narrating, you're done. Your whole life is over. This is the end of your show.
Listening to me?
This is like
Otto.
Mizu all
You're
over
Otto.
again.
Listening. More importantly, you should be lying down in your skirt. And if you don't sit on your knees either, you're.
Can we skip
I think
Felt,
we'll
please?
one who's enjoying this most.
We just
I
make
can see
Felt Otto instead.
Change the name to Otto. Be Otto.
Wait, is my thing not picking up my voice?
It is, it is.
It is.
Oh, okay.
We're just all screaming in horror. That's it.
What are you talking about? It's not like I mind if you see what's inside. If you want to see it, just ask.
I want to see it.
Reinhard, remember when I told you that we should go out for drinks later? I think we should burn that mansion to the ground. What do you say?
My candidate, everything's so wrong.
She's dead to me.
You know what,
She's
Nappa?
dead to me.
I was about to blow up the planet, and I think I'm gonna do it now.
Can you just
Are you sure, Vegeta?
blow up the mansion?
Yeah, I think I'm sure.
Just the mansion.
You
Please.
idiot! What are you? Like 7? Sure, it's great to be able to see. What? It's great to be able to see it when you want to see it.
Has to be Otto. You gotta voice as Otto. That's the only way we can get through this.
Sneak a peek. When I take a sneak peek at Otto's paradise, it really changes the way I feel about him. I'm sorry,
deeply
man.
disturbed by Subaru's antics.
You're not the only one.
I think I need to take a long walk on the beach.
You're gonna need more than that.
I need therapy.
Alright, skipping
I'm
Subaru.
gonna walk into the sea and never come out.
I'll take a long walk off a cliff.
Yeah.
I vote we
You
skip
won't escape
Felt.
it in death.
I vote we skip Felt completely.
I agree.
We're not skipping Felt.
Plus
This is
one.
too important.
Plus one. No, it's
There's
not.
nobody. Oh wait, no. There's still 2 more anthems. We're good. We don't have to do this. Skip.
Well, you can't see it. My hand is up in the sky.
Just get through it. Just get through it. Just get through this stupid
Come on,
chapter.
let's hurry this up.
It's Otto.
Wait, so I'm gonna do Felt and Subaru, but Subaru is Otto.
No. You're gonna do Otto.
No, just talk
And
as
I-
Otto.
I'm gonna
Just
be-
talk as Otto.
I'm gonna be hitting on Otto like it's all my business.
It doesn't
Yeah,
make it
replace
any
all
better,
Felt with
Reinhard, that
Otto.
he's hitting on Otto. That does not make it any more acceptable in my eyes.
Where are we?
When he sat down on the bed, Otto
Your big
clicked his
Subaru
tongue
line.
with a tisk.
Christ.
I'm saying this now, Otto, but with how you're laying down, if anyone opens the door, I might have to buy some of that oil again.
I'm not gonna let someone see up my skirt, so don't worry about it. Don't you think you've been treating me like a kid for way too long? How
boy.
long do you think it's been since we first fought?
The
This is better. This is
Well, remember that time we met in the bar and we got so drunk? Well,
I'll never see
Yeah,
you the
that's
same.
kind of my thing.
I'll never see you the same way again.
What do you mean? You're the one who told me to call you Oni-chan, saying that it's more flirtatious.
Hey, what the fuck, man? I did not tell you that, you weird freak!
I know you like it.
Felt
Let's
laughed
not
at
talk
him and
about
put
what
her
I said.
hand on Subaru's. Oh wait, that's not Felt.
Otto laughed at him and put his hand on Subaru's
Oh my
chest.
gosh, you had one job.
Covered his face with his hands. When he felt a soft poke on his chest, he gently wrapped his hand around his. And so they laid on the bed with their hands laced together.
Otto's poking me with his sword! I know it looks like I'm joking around, but I am genuinely worried about you, you know? Like, how are you going to financially recover from this? I just bought all your oil. Again!
Sorry, I'm Felt again. If you
What?
really
No.
being inconvenience,
Is it a
what
split pop
after I met Oni-chan was way worse.
Subaru's on an acid trip.
What happened after was hard too.
Can I get some lead acid too?
Otto was
Then I
Felt the
wasn't
whole
able to
time.
help you. I regret that I couldn't, but now that I'm on a huge acid trip, bro, I want to do everything in my power to help
Subaru
you!
wrapped his arms around Felt or Otto, cradled his chest.
Fast enough.
Today, Fado was wearing a dress that showed off her shoulders, and Subaru could feel. Get a room. In Subaru's arms, Otto raised his face, which had
Are
turned
you
bright
reading this
red.
seriously?
Yes.
It's still early in the evening.
Oh, that's what
God.
I would have told you, but right now, I just want to hug you, bro. If you, if that's what you want to do, I'd be, okay with it.
No, not right now. I need more, Mr. Natsuki. I need you inside of me.
Oh,
no.
Otto's face was red as a beet, and Subaru was. Reinhard, I'm severely disappointed in Subaru, was surprised at the
I'm not way to go, Subaru, man.
unexpected information. He wanted, I don't know who this is anymore, to argue with him. But he or she cut himself off, and was stuck repeating. What were you stuck repeating, damn it?
Because
Is that gold?
It literally has things around it.
Please.
No.
Hi, Purple. I need you inside me as well.
God.
Where's
Everyone's
Purple?
coming in VC, but not Gold. Not the person we need to read.
Guys, at this point, if Gold doesn't show up, we're just gonna have somebody cover Sirius.
Fair enough.
Oh my gosh.
I'm losing it.
I keep losing where we are.
I mean, my voice already
Listen, we've
kind of
been lost
sounds,
for some time.
what's the word? Adronomous or whatever.
Adronomous.
So I could probably do
Androgynous?
serious.
Androgynous, Aponatus.
Autonomous. No, like a robot. Autonomous, yes.
Look, I'm gonna skip. We're skipping Felt. We're going to Rem.
Okay.
That'd be great, please.
I wonder who's voicing Rem. Gee. Okay. So TLDR, Felt punched him in the face. He has a black eye now. Yeah.
They didn't
You guys don't want to see the last words of that one. That one's pretty bad.
Yeah, no, that's why we're skipping it.
Yeah.
That. Oh my god.
Oh
God. Oh,
yeah.
No.
Is Purple narrating this one?
I'm muting myself.
Oh, please.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Somebody read
Either
Rem.
that or I'm going to do like a
Save me.
very bad Morty voice. One or the other. Please.
Morty, I made a time machine, Morty.
I don't really know about this one, Rick. This seems really weird.
All right, let's just start this off, and we'll read this one seriously because Kyle's like Rem.
Okay.
Romantic?
Oh,
Alright, someone start the
gosh.
music.
We're not reading anything seriously.
Subaru
Someone
King,
hum wishing.
what happened to your left eye?
I received a hot kiss from Otto's fist in the eye. What he did to hide his
I'll get
embarrassment.
ratioed.
He has a huge cute side, even though I bought all his oil.
Please be careful, Subaru-kun. Oh, Subaru-kun's body is in another person's possession after all.
Oh my god.
What?
The evening passes. Rem faces towards Subaru with a smile, who came visiting the room and says those words like that. Subaru shrugs at that girl's smile and moves towards Rem's side. He stands up and waves at the girl to sit down, who tried to give up her spot.
You be careful too. Hypothetically, if it's certainly true that my body's in someone's possession, but realistically, you're the one that should be careful.
Sorry. I shouldn't really be helping Subaru-kun in these busy times too. I keep bringing Amelia.
She's resurfacing.
The best of both worlds.
Ugh.
Don't make the wrong assumptions.
It's like he's choosing Amelia again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rem. I love Amelia. For now, it's
Rem, all
okay.
we have is
You
Amelia
rest
here.
and come see me with the greatest smile like that. This is your greatest power. Because, any rate, oh god.
Subaru
Oh, no.
kneels before Rem, who is sitting in a chair while saying these words. He faces towards her and reaches out with his hand. What those fingers reached were her stomach. And he understood that this sensitive girl's stomach, Rem, was now bigger! She was pregnant with another being!
Yo, Rem, you get fat!
Subaru, no!
Our child is right in here. Oh, just how much of it is my energy? I wonder. Oh!
I'm happy supporting you emotionally, but I want to support you physically too, Subaru-kun. I might be frustrated about having that role taken from Petra.
Can we get lie in the chat so Rem can go to sleep?
Rem sticks out her small
Guys,
tongue.
this is
The
how
girl
love
walks
happens,
around
man.
the
Way to go, my
cover up
boy.
her trouble
Another
and
child.
frustration. As of now, the maid work was transferred to Petra, who succeeded her as a maid that could roughly do anything. And Rem spent most of the day taking care of the child in her stomach. In particular, what took up most of Rem's time lately was...
God.
Oh, looks
Why
like
did you
made
describe
quite
it
a
like
lot
a
of
little
You
box?
made so many femboy socks, huh?
Read
I
Subaru.
thought I was bad at knitting at first, but while I was making them, it got a lot more fun. I thought about the child getting bigger, then they got bigger and bigger. First to be about the size of my thumb, my fist, my palm, an appa, and a melon.
Then a pepper.
What the fuck? Wait, what have we done for our sex to make it necessary to have Tinsel? What the fuck?
Tap it, go home!
I was just thinking about it getting bigger quickly, and I wanted it to grow up carefree.
There's a possibility that it will grow bigger than the biggest old man I know, so I don't like this.
He had
What the fuck is
confidence
going
that
on?
he loved the child no matter how it came out, but there was no confidence that went above that level. Rem smiles with a in response to Subaru's retort and says,
Well, I did realize that it was too big midway, no matter how I looked at it. Now I sewed them to make them smaller.
Fucking hell.
They're all things for children, so I made some for Subaru-kun too.
Oh man, I'm gonna divorce Rem. Oh, you made some for me too. That
I need a
sure makes
waifu,
me happy.
speaking of which.
Good. This is work done cautiously by Rem filled with love.
Filled
Always
with
keep
lust.
them with me.
Yes. There are mittens, socks, belly bands, loincloth, a scarf, a hat, underwear, undergarments, a coat, footwear, and graves.
I really don't want to know how you got the measurements for all of that. Is there a knitting wall left for the kids' clothes?
there were various knitting works presented one by one.
Wait, does she love Subaru so much she's gonna fucking neglect her kids?
Yes.
No, it sounds like she's obsessed about the kid now.
Keep going, Kanda.
If he wore all of this and tackled his duties, he'd probably become groggy from the heat in 10 minutes. Leaving a skillful person be with steady preferences would result in something like this.
I want to die.
It would be
So
tough
do
to wear
I.
all of this and do work. Can I wear them in rotation?
Guys, it's only been an hour. It's only been an hour.
Oh
It feels longer than every stream I've done myself. Stream for 4
Don't
hours.
worry, I'm satisfied just by having you accept my gift, Subaru-kun, Subaru-kun, Subaru-kun.
Just from that, the time I spent knitting pays off.
Oh, Rem, I'm still divorcing you.
She's worth so much, cat girl.
Man.
So what you do with that, with what you receive, is entirely up to you, Subaru-kun. Even if you put them aside in the closet and they get covered in dust, even if you use them to wipe off milk when you spill it carelessly, even if you use them as a cushion for your chair you sought to sit on while you thought you'd take a break, I don't mind at all.
Somebody in chat
I
said,
use
how do you
each
get...
and everyone every day. You don't have to say such pitiful things.
Somebody in chat said, how do you get measurements for a loincloth? Don't you just need a measure for that? It's just a cloth.
He puts on all the knitted material and says,
Do a railway station announcement voice.
like this! And he shows them off. Rem claps, appearing to be deeply moved at Subaru's enthusiastic, gallant figure.
Gallum, okay.
Your father is nice. Is this nice of a person? You want to show off your energetic figures soon,
Keiichi,
huh?
disown him.
What?
Keiichi, disown him.
if you're going around with so many girls.
I wonder if it saw me like this now. Would it know who I am when I'm not wearing these? Yeah, Daddy's a little worried about that.
Daddy-kun!
No.
Don't worry,
No.
it's my child,
I need
so
Truck
I'll
Kun
love
right now.
Subaru-kun. So no matter what Subaru looks like, I know who you are immediately.
Holy shit.
But it's half my child too. I'm worried about his recessive genes on that front. Wait, that's a reference to parent and child. No!
That's,
No!
Yep.
Subaru-kun is always so lovely. So if it turns out like Subaru-kun, then this child will definitely be a lovely one.
Rem.
Ren speaks in her usual manner at Subaru, who pouts with his lips while rubbing her stomach. Rem's overvaluing of Subaru did not change at all, not a single bit. That's why it was necessary for him to always try his best to overvalue her greatly to correspond with it, so that hers didn't pile up. Therefore, the power she gave him truly was an amazing amount.
The harm isn't worth it. It's not. It's just not.
Say, Subaru-kun, do you prefer a boy or a girl?
Neither! I'm gonna kill that fucking child! I'm gonna get it out of you!
Whoa!
Wow! A boy, my boy. A boy. Always a boy.
What the fuck are you doing?
You know, people are still gonna have to read from this, right?
Hard to say. Either way, if it turns out like Rem, I think he'd be cute or handsome. But if it turns out like me, they
Get ratio to it.
So I'd feel bad if it was a girl and a boy. We're equal here at the Natsuki camp.
Yeah.
When did it become the
Furthermore,
Natsuki camp? Alright.
Seemed like
Yeah, when I conquered all of it, baby.
like him at rough times with their childhoods, and she always looked displeased with her eyes of female classmates who were fighting from just walking the road together with her, buying candy. So she was always stuffed. The person who lived life without being aware of her eyes dement was Subaru's mother. It wasn't hard to make a guess for his daughter that he had in it. Why are we talking about Subaru's fucking mom in this moment?
care.
She's about to be
sustaining his mother.
Just end the Rem chapter so we can go to the Amelia chapter.
Okay.
All right, I'm playing Amelia.
They live happily ever after.
The end.
Wait,
Yay,
we have to read the
Rem.
last part. We have to read the last part of it.
It's the last part.
Read from then if a boy is born. Wolf.
Oh.
Which one?
The Rem one is right near the bottom.
Okay. Then, if a boy is born, I'll pass down my father's tradition, and I'll be the biggest obstacle to him, the greatest rival, and the greatest partner in crime. We'll bump into each other constantly and relentlessly, and I'll be a line that pushes him over, and over towards the abyss. I'm looking forward to it.
He says, and
then
continues
they made
to
out.
speak. Yeah, they made out at the end. Great.
Alright, Amelia.
Okay.
How long is Amelia? Oh my god.
Today was
Now you get your piece of Subaru.
Another hard day at work.
I'll narrate as Julius.
Of course, Julius would narrate this.
Subaru was finally finished with all of his work, including the extra paperwork that was brought in right before he was about to go back to his room. Some departments had experienced some delays, which meant that all the extra paperwork had to be taken care of by Subaru. That makes matters worse. He was told that it all had to be done by today, which was absurd.
Oh, seriously? I feel as though I'm being taken way too lightly. I guess the Japanese ability to say no is, becoming a big liability here. God, why did I marry all these women? I wonder if I could get away with being even more assertive and saying no.
I'm
God.
What?
Let's narrate at the same time.
Why?
No.
We must
do it. 3,
No.
2, 1. However, if the problem were to worsen because of it, even more people will get in trouble. When he thinks about that, it's hard for him to gather up the courage and tell people no, even after becoming the king and leaving his small town mentally behind. Was it really alright for him to be the king with these sorts of thoughts?
Oh, it's too late to be splitting out my many
God,
weaknesses
why?
and my weird split personalities. There isn't even anyone to listen to me then anyway. I'm so depressed. Wow.
Wait, Subaru! There isn't even anyone to listen to me vent anyway! Among Us! Among Us!
Someone deafen this lad.
I think he might have gone crazy.
You have a line. You have a line, Amelia.
You can let it out to me.
While talking to himself, Subaru opened the door to his room and had planned to lay down and think of his plans for tomorrow. Instead, he was greeted by a girl sitting on the edge of his bed with her silver hair swaying in the night's breeze. She smiled at Subaru, her silver hair shining in the moonlight.
Welcome. Welcome back. Thank you for your hard work.
Subaru was rendered speechless by her words of encouragement. That's his surprise came partly from the unexpectedness of her visit, and partly from healing effects of her wounds. But the bigger factor is...
We've been saved.
Is this...
Suddenly... Oh, is Gold here?
Yes.
Oh my god, thank you.
Saved.
Suddenly, an emotion welled up behind his eyes. Subaru felt something hot threaten to come out of his eyes and placed his sleeve on his face to try and stop it from leaking out. I would not cry. If he looked at her face and suddenly started crying, Emilia would definitely feel bad. So he tried his best to hold it in. But in the end, it doesn't even matter.
Damn it! What's with this? Media Tan is here. Fuck, man! I married too many women.
Gold to catch you up, we're reading Lust Diff.
It's okay. I'm okay. It's not a problem. I'm totally fine. I'm fine.
Subaru turned his face away from Emilia and quickly tried to reassure her. He didn't want Emilia to see a disgusting face he was making. No, he didn't want... Do we have to stop? Do we have to stop? Can we stop, please?
Can we just say
so
Gold? Yes, Gold's actually in here. Thank God.
Gold.
Yes.
Oh my god, Gold, you're here.
Lifesaver.
Yeah, we should probably stop because I scrolled down and the first thing I read
Yeah,
is
I know.
Emilia's
I
thing,
know.
Is it hard?
I know.
So...
No, we're stopping. No, we're done with this.
Yay.
Welcome to the Arc 5 reading.
Guys, I'm not sure I can take this Arc 5 reading seriously anymore.
Please do. We need you.
I'm just gonna do our Arnie voice for Reinhard.
I just, oh my god. I'm traumatized for life.
Oh my god, I
Gold,
just
are
saw
you
like the
saved?
art. I just saw the art for the Lust Diff on the channel, and oh my god, Petra's fucking face. This is so cursed. I hate this.
Any link to the text? Can somebody just... Oh, wait, I have to do it. Never mind.
Link to the text. Oh, it's in what's it called?
I know
Revised
what it
Arc
is,
5 files.
I gotta,
Thank you.
Go eat. I gotta go pray for an hour.
1 hour of
I gotta go,
cursing tree.
Gold, are you here? Can I hear your voice, please? You're very quiet. Very quiet.
Give me a second. I literally just woke up.
Awesome. Let's pull these two back.
Saved.
Welcome back.
Gold's like an actual hero.
Welcome back. Hello. Welcome back to the channel.
Hi, you national treasures.
Jace, that was so cursed. I'm glad you didn't listen to it. We're doing the Arc 5 reading now.
All right.
Okay, wait. Give me 1 sec. I gotta get things set up again on my end.
Oh my
Give
god.
me 1 minute as well.
Kanda made that so cursed.
Oh my god.
So
That's what I do.
unbelievably
I'll be
cursed.
right back. Alright.
Too much imagination.
But it was a fun curse.
If I see any fan art of this, I swear to God.
Hey, Natsuki Subaru, if you're out there.
Okay,
I
one of you guys
see
said earlier
the problem
in the Priscilla scene. Oh god.
The problem is I can't send this because Fanta sent it as a PDF file. So,
One of you guys said Wolfiana and Android 16. I want to see a Photoshop of that.
Oh no! Did somebody roll a wish?
Yeah.
No.
Chica. Yeah.
Did you see that Gene gave his entire harem to Lolo?
He said it yesterday to me. Yes.
Die.
Yeah.
I'm deleting Mude after this.
Does this mean now you can give me Saber?
No, I'm not number one. No, I'm never giving away my harem now. Sorry.
And all I wanted to hear was one more Excalibur. That was it.
Excalibur. Hey, nobody donated the 500, but we just did it to torture ourselves, so you're welcome.
I bet you.
I think it was more so you did it, Hollow, to torture us.
We specifically kept saying, no, please, stop. Let's not do this.
Well, let's get into the reading.
Especially me.
Let's get into the reading. No, this didn't exist. This reading, whoever timestamps these, please just put skip the first hour.
It's not canon.
It's not canon. Watch our viewers dip to like 130 or 120 now. I had to pee like super bad too. Fuck.
PDF.
Vegeta was not here.
I drank 3 cups of coffee while we were reading that. Yeah, I'll be back.
Same.
I think I'm probably gonna go microwave a burrito real quick.
Cool.
Thanks.
I can't wait to eat after these readings, man.
Also, chat, Hollow says I have special powers and I shouldn't use them. So put claps in chat to use my special powers. Gold is here. We will welcome Gold with claps.
Gold, thank you for saving me. Thank you.
I don't know what I did.
Gold is our. You have no idea.
You saved
how
us.
Yes. Or Wolf.
You have saved our souls from damnation. That's what you have done, my friend. And we are all grateful for it.
It's a little too late, but we
I don't know. I
appreciate
think
you
it's a little too
nonetheless.
late for.
No, I've got to believe. I've got to be optimistic about this.
Well, my soul just got pushed back into my body when gold came. But that's just what happens. The savior is gold. He's my Jesus now.
The Messiah.
So who's narrating first?
Did we say it was me? I forget. We were talking about this now, and Lustiff has just completely transferred my mind.
This is chapter 20, right?
Yeah, so I'm not in it.
You were narrating
so...
it. I remember discussing this with you because I'm narrating a specific part of it. Remember?
Oh yeah, it's all coming back to me now.
All right, boys, can we hit 200 viewers, please? Please and thank you. Oh my gosh, yay!
Let's make more.
No, but for real though, these next 4 chapters are actually super hype and important. So, please, give us your support, energy. Why are you guys leading? This is the opposite of what I wanted. Bye.
Are we ready to go?
Does everybody have the PDF pulled up?
You guys think we can ask Ally to come in and narrate one of the chapters? Because I love narration.
I tried contacting Ally, and if she's not here, then probably
I
busy.
can narrate one if that's okay.
Hey, Beatrice. Sure. All right, you guys are gonna hear a little behind the scenes. Let's do mic check before we go into this. Go ahead, Kiki, and we'll go down.
Okay.
Betty is back from doing laundry, I suppose.
Okay. You're a little quiet. I'm just gonna turn you up a bit.
Okay.
One more time.
I don't know if I want to say it anymore. I'll just talk in my normal voice,
You're
if that's
fine.
okay.
You're fine.
Okay.
Mealy, what's up? Hi.
Amelia was saved from
You're
being
good.
looted.
My name's Larkins.
Go, Lightning. Eagle. Burrito.
Hey, I literally just got back from making my burrito and just put my headphones on.
All right.
We're in time. Hey,
Jace.
analysis.
I hope you love that burrito.
Hello, I hate all of you.
Otto.
I don't know if I'm gonna say a single thing during this reading.
You
but
might
hi.
narrate, probably.
Maybe. Yep.
Hey,
Subaru.
I'm Nasty Subaru, and the past hour didn't fucking happen.
Reinhard von Astrea.
My name is Reinhard von Astrea, and I am the Sword Saint, and I'm going to kill somebody.
Sirius Romani Conti.
Hello.
Okay, let's see. I gotta remember you're way louder as Sirius.
Hello.
Darkness. Did the last stream...
My old friend.
Oh yeah, so the last stream crashed. I should mention this now. My computer completely went AWOL monkey shit on me, and it completely froze. So that was a thing. Oh, somebody just added me in the... Okay, that's not important. Do you need more time, Lesbo-kun, for the audio stuff, or...
Let me get the bot to join the.
Gotcha.
Hollow, people want to see the Discord PFPs pop up while we're speaking.
Oh yeah, I turned it off because give me a second.
Wanted to save us all.
Thank you, Angel.
Not that
I'm curious what I missed exactly.
We read Lustiff.
Yeah, I figured as much, but I don't know what happened.
We're not repeating it.
Nonsense.
Okay.
You were there.
Lots of
you weren't there.
recasting.
Give me a hot second to just set this up real quick, because I have to put the thing back in the thing with the stuff.
Give me a hot second to recover
So,
my
chat, how's your day doing today?
How's your day doing
Having a
today?
good day?
10 out of 10.
He's having a good day. Are you having a good day, chat?
We all having good days today, because I'm livid right now.
Did you enjoy that, chat? Laughing at us like that?
$5? You have all this
We'll see
time to
Randy's
watch
donation.
us, and not
Hashtag blame the Mac. Hell yeah.
Listen,
Hashtag
Wolf.
replace the Mac.
Listen.
My day is ruined because we didn't get to loot Amelia.
Oh my god.
Wait,
Kanda,
Kanda.
you can always just do that yourself.
Reinhard, I think we have somebody. Oh wait, no, I have to talk like Larkins.
Reinhard, I think we have somebody we need to kill. His name's Otto. Suwen.
I don't know. He's quite a pleasant man.
He's pleasant. Fuck.
Not sure why I went very British there all of a sudden.
You find Subaru stabbing Otto's dead corpse in the back alley. You're taking immediate time from me!
Maybe
Like playing Stay Alive while he's doing it.
All right.
Amelia sees him, and she's like, Subaru!
So we're gonna do
And
the
he's like,
same.
"Oh."
We're gonna do the same thing as we did for all these past streams. We're gonna be reading seriously from now on. This is a official, professional production. I think what we can do is we can read 2 chapters back to back, just with like a couple minutes break, and then do a discussion in the middle and at the end, since that might be better for all of us.
Okay.
Let's.
No discussion for Lusteth?
No.
No.
All right.
No.
Let's see. So narrating. Reinhardt's narrating first one, or Pat is? Is that what's happening?
That
Pat's narrating?
I am.
Okay. Let's see. Who's gonna narrate the second chapter then? Does Kanda even have any lines? Kanda can just do the second one, I guess.
Hollow, I think a dono wasn't read.
Was it in the what? Was it wait, what? Like in chat or on Streamlabs?
I have no clue. Apparently people were saying in chat that someone's wasn't read.
Really? I didn't see anything pop. Huh? I don't read the Streamlabs one because it has their IRL names. So let me pull up Streamlabs just to see. Wow, I'm such a bad YouTuber. Rip.
Nah, man, you're the best.
Nah,
you
you're the
made
best,
us read
man.
Lost
You
there.
shouldn't
Hell
lie.
yeah.
Lying's a sin.
I cursed everyone. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
No, you saved us. He cursed us. You saved us. You're good.
Oh, here we go. Mini Milk, thank you for the 11. Roman Morales. Oh wait, yeah, that's his name, right? Yeah. Roman Morales, the 1069. Benzo for the 1052. Randy for the $1. And yeah, that's everything that we missed.
Is it just me, or is my mic constantly making noise? Because my thing is saying
You're
let
just
up
really
green.
quiet.
Like, I'm just pushing down the push to talk button and it's still...
No, I'm not hearing any
I don't hear
ambient
any
noise.
background
I can't hear anything. It's probably just picking it up, and you can't hear it. So you're good.
You're fine.
All right.
So I guess, are you fine narrating? I think Kanda, you just have to talk directly into your mic because you were going in and out the last time we were doing
I
these.
swear I was doing it last time, but I will make doubly sure this time.
Okay, I'm gonna be just monitoring your audio while you're going because I'm pretty sure Larkins barely has any lines in this.
Yeah, if for like 30 seconds it sounds really bad, just have someone else do it, because I'd rather it sound better than me just, reading more.
Oh my god. Number 1 pre-meeting. Where's Gold? Oh yeah, he got the wrong times. Hollow, let's stall with Lust If. Everyone, why the fuck Hollow do it? Reads Lust If. Gold arrives. Reading starting now. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Alright. The bot is playing. That is fine. If we're all set to go... What's up?
Nothing.
Okay. If we're all set to go, are you guys all ready to switch to professional reading mode?
Hopefully.
I'm a professional and I always have been.
Okay. You guys all... What?
I agree. I'm good.
Okay. We are now starting over again. Is Priscilla's not in this, right? Before I start reading this and... Now, whatever.
Oh, wait.
She is a bit, yes.
Real quick.
What's that?
General, real quick.
In general. Oh, really? I'm not looking at it. Oh, yeah, you were correct. Otto, or Kanda, are you in the live chat right now?
Yeah.
Just type something in the live chat so I can make you a moderator. Because there's some stuff I don't know.
Oh, I'll do the same.
Girl.
If I spot anything.
Are you a mod wolf?
No, which is why I typed in chat just now.
Okay, I'll be waiting for it. Yeah, here we go. We can just start the reading for now. Thank you all for staying for this long. Appreciated. Alright. You know all the VAs that are here already. They're all here. We're all ready to go. I'm sure. So yeah, I guess we can get right into these 4 chapters. What's up?
I would just like to ask one thing. Priscilla has a couple lines. Who are we subbing in with?
Kyle, do you think you can do it, or?
Yeah, if Kiki doesn't want to.
Kiki, do you want to read Priscilla?
Sure.
Okay, we'll have Kiki read it. Alright, here we go.
Arc 5, Chapter 20, Shared Empathy. Squatting on the ground, breathing heavily, Subaru finally endured the urge to collapse. Amelia and Beatrice surrounded him, wearing looks of concern, and even Liliana seemed worried. Priscilla seemed fairly interested, cooling her face with her fan. Bathed in their concerned voices and gazes, Subaru gradually reorientated himself. Feeling like time was slowly accelerating back to normal, Subaru realized what the taste in his mouth was. He was reminded of switching channels on a television. There was nothing like a loss, the sense of smell, taste, or sight, but his surroundings had suddenly disintegrated into powder and transformed into something entirely different. Subaru's eyes, ears, nose, and skin had all adapted to the new world, but his consciousness could not forget the previous channel, so there was a sense of violation. All he could do was ignore it, to chew, and swallow the sense of unease that came from switching channels until it was finally over. Subaru clenched his teeth and finally climbed to his feet. He shook his head and looked around. The park was full of bright sunshine, a place of relaxation with fountains and green lawns, and a colourful spread of flower beds. Subaru was presently surrounded by 4 beautiful girls: Amelia, Beatrice, Liliana, and Priscilla. He had heard Liliana's voice twice now.
Are you alright, Subaru? Your complexion doesn't look so good.
Amelia-tan. Just now, did Liliana say that she'd sing another song?
What do you mean? Liliana, was ignored to such a degree that this situation shocked and hurt my heart. Compensation! I demand compensation!
As she spoke, Liliana seized Subaru's sleeve in a frenzy, declaring a lawsuit, only to be shaken off by Subaru. He ignored the indignant
"Hey!"
The songstress issued and turned to Amelia, who seemed to pick up on Subaru's seriousness.
Yes, Liliana said she'd sing us another song that we missed. Then Subaru and Liliana started quietly chatting in secret about something.
That happened just now. I got it. Thanks. Thank you.
Just saying those words of gratitude, he felt an unspeakable sense of disgust. Subaru could not help but raise a hand to cover his mouth. Seeing him in this state, Amelia made a puzzled frown. Amelia had not done anything wrong. Needless to say, his appreciation was not bitter. However, it evoked the incomparable malice in the previous world.
So, this means that I died.
He finally realized, but he was unable to vocalize the word. Natsuki Subaru had died. After he died, he would return from the time he said goodbye to the world. Although he was relieved at his successful return, remorse also rose in his chest. Obviously, Subaru should have been prepared. In that forest a year ago, in Sanctuary, during the trials, Natsuki Subaru had resolutely rejected death and the grievances that accompanied it. But he had still died, and so easily too, without resistance, without a sense of defiance, without even awareness. Why was that? The situation had obviously been abnormal, but even Subaru himself had no clue what had happened. He had clearly experienced it himself, but he could not understand any of it. Subaru had not even realized how abnormal that situation had been. And not only Subaru, everyone present had been afflicted with the same madness as him. They had obviously seen the chained up, howling boy, but they had all frenzied cheered for his solidarity. Not to mention the insane round of applause that had accompanied the child's fall, welcoming him to his death. What exactly had triggered all of that? And how exactly had he died without even realizing the reason? He had not been able to recognize an agent for his death, and even now, he could not find one. Or perhaps, it had been in front of him all along, and he had failed to see it as a threat. But he could not trust anything he had felt. Although he had registered the abnormality of the situation after his death, until that very moment, he had not been able to think clearly. How had he died, in the end? Were there any explosions attached to the falling boy's body? They could have exploded upon the impact with the ground, blowing up the surroundings. In fact, that was almost exactly like the memory of this instant death. It was all very vague. His memory at that instant of his death was greatly blurred by his madness at the time. Even if he were completely calm now, the state of his mind he had been in at the time prevented him from being able to comprehend that memory at all. If Subaru had truly been in a state of madness, then it would be virtually impossible to unravel the insane memories of his death.
Are you really okay, Subaru? Even Liliana's wearing such a bothered expression.
I'm not doing anything so pointless. How Natsuki-sama thinks of me doesn't make me sad at all, so please don't get the wrong idea.
See? It's so obvious that it's really bothering you.
Even someone as clueless as Amelia had seen through Liliana's brazenness. Through their dialogue, Subaru remembered his current situation. At this point in time, Subaru was supposed to take advantage of Liliana's song to go run an errand and buy recollection sweets. And shortly after buying something, he had met the monster called Wrath. There were less than 15 minutes before that nightmare of a speech would begin.
You're kidding me.
In his experience with Return by Death, never had the time between the save point and the death been so close together. Time ranging from a few hours to a few days. That was what Return by Death had always given Subaru in the past. The time he had now was extremely short. In just 15 short minutes, what could Subaru do? But even when he puzzled over this, time flowed on. In this situation, merely avoiding death would be incredibly simple. Subaru only needed to avoid the place where the speech would be delivered. That way, the cause of death, such as this possible bomb, would not affect him. It was incredibly unlikely that a bomb affecting the entire city had been prepared. So, if Subaru only wanted to live, he could just not go. Sirius would not have targeted Subaru, appearing near him. Pure, indiscriminate malice, and Subaru just happened to be there. Therefore, even if Subaru were not present, that square would still be Sirius's crime scene. The speech unrelated to Subaru's presence would happen regardless, and everyone there would be affected. At the very least, no matter how that turned out, that falling child would be doomed to die.
I have to stop it. Damn it, I have to!
Subaru scratched his head and arrived at a decision. He could not save him. Luzbel was not guilty of anything. That poor child was looking forward to a newborn brother or sister, and had taken his childhood sweetheart's place in that tower. How could anyone be so cowardly as to think only of themselves and not attempt to rescue him?
Bearco and I...
We'll go together, Subaru hesitated to declare.
What is it, Subaru?
Turning to face Subaru, Beatrice voiced a serious question. Now that he knew a critical situation was imminent, bringing Beatrice with him was the obvious option to choose in terms of combat effectiveness. If she were absent, Subaru's combat strength would be cut in half. Even so, Subaru hesitated. It was not for a sentimental reason like not wanting Beatrice to fight. Of course, saying that reason had not flashed through his mind at all wouldn't be true. But that was not Subaru's key reasoning. That would be Emilia. Or rather, leaving Emilia here. The witch cult was in this very city. Those fanatics. Although he had yet to know whether or not that phrase should be plural, at least the Sin Archbishop of Wrath was present. He had no clue if she was working with any other cultists, because their status was completely unknown. However, in a city where the witch cult was active, the notion of leaving Emilia alone with no one to protect her left lingering anxiety in Subaru. Leaving someone important in a place beyond his reach was far too dangerous. Leaving someone out of his sight, where the witch cult's devilish hands would be able to reach for his... far too dangerous. Deep in his heart, turbid fear plagued Subaru. Then, would he take Emilia to where Wrath was? That was out of the question. Having Emilia encounter the witch cult would undoubtedly lead to tragedy. Only that was certain. Just recalling Betelgeuse made that clear. Subaru could not let Emilia near the witch cult. The reasons could not even be questioned. It just had to be like that.
Beatrice and I...
And what, Subaru?
We eat the same sweets. Is that fine?
Hmm?
Beatrice frowned as she heard Subaru. She probably suspected that he had been thinking something else entirely. Subaru nodded at Liliana, who seemed completely lost, and turned to Emilia.
I'll go on a short trip to buy some sweet snacks. Then I'll be right back, Emilia Tan. Just right here. Well, elegantly instead of listening to Liliana's song.
I got it, but is it okay if I don't go with you?
That's fine. Believe in me. I'll protect you.
At his words, Emilia blinked her wide eyes and nodded with a blush. Then, Subaru quietly beckoned Beatrice, who treated him with a suspicious gaze. He put his lips to her ear.
Protect Emilia for me. If I need your strength, I'll call you immediately.
What did you encounter that you can't even tell Betty about?
Just be prepared. If I call you, then you can assume it's a pretty bad situation.
Subaru gently pinched the slightly displeased Beatrice's nose, then waved and took off. He sprinted without looking back, even feeling the eyes of the 4 people who saw him off on his back. Running down the road, he reached the square in less than 5 minutes. However, he had departed a little late. In this strange situation, with very little time, the slightest difference in timing could be a matter of life and death.
Although, this is the case without shopping. I'll have nearly 10 minutes.
Subaru slowed into a walk and surveyed the square where he had arrived. Before, he had focused on the tower without a chance to observe the surrounding area. But, at least for that moment, no conspicuous, black-clad strangers were anywhere to be seen. Then, was it alright to think that Sin Archbishop was most probably acting alone?
The question is what to do next. Once that speech begins, I could very well be forced into that hazy state of mind again.
Since the origin of that Alamarus area wasn't clear, once it captured him again, he had no idea if he could retain his sanity. Thus, Subaru assumed that it would become impossible to recognize the anomaly as anomalous, due to the frightening power within that brainwashing space.
Should I tell everyone to take refuge somewhere away from here? It'd be like the situation with Betelgeuse. Oh, no, there's not enough manpower. And if it causes too much of a ruckus, Sirius may act preemptively.
He could not ask the victims who should not be involved in the situation to take refuge. But how would he accomplish that? After all, if Sirius's speech did not have any particular target, then the location would not be limited to the square. If there were no audience here, she would just go elsewhere. As a result, the incident would only unfold to a different set of victims.
In that case, the only way is to eliminate the culprit.
His primary advantage was knowing that Sirius was planning to appear here. It was very similar to the battle to subjugate Betelgeuse. No matter what, the witch cult could not be allowed to run free. To prevent the evil cult from carrying out their crimes meant that the fundamental causes needed to be eliminated. Otherwise, tragedies would only repeat themselves until the root cause was eliminated. He had realized that far too late. He had reached that conclusion quicker. Subaru would not ever even have come to this place alone. No, returning to this square had been the wrong choice in the first place. Had he at least returned to the inn, he could have turned to Wilhelm or Julius for help.
Wasting time on these thoughts is useless. I'm the only one here now. As soon as the speech starts, I have to be ready to act. No! The solution is actually much simpler.
Finding an answer, Subaru glanced at the bottom of the clock tower. The white-coloured tower from which the abominable speech was professed. He noticed a small window at the bottom of the tower, presumably where Sirius had entered to give her speech from above. In that case, she should already be in the tower, preparing for her speech that would be happening shortly. Even if she had yet to enter, Luzbel himself might be bound in there, awaiting rescue. So, Subaru glanced cautiously to his left and right, and approached the bottom of the clock tower. He quietly moved the inconspicuous iron gate in the alley to the side, opened it, and slipped inside the tower. The inside of the clock tower was dark beyond compare, its frigid air filled with dust. The entire tower was entirely silent. Unlike clock towers from this world, this one had no gears. The passage of time was tracked using the glow of a magical crystal. Its color would change naturally, reflecting the slight changes of atmospheric mana over time. Therefore, the only sound that would ever be heard inside the tower had to be made by someone else.
No need to cry so noisily. Are you a good boy? You must be a strong child. Daddy Muslan and Mommy Ina, and your younger sibling too. They must be so proud of what a strong boy you are. You are such a good kid.
An unpleasant voice echoed. Terrified, childish whimpers of fear echoed. Sobbing sounds came echoing from the top of the spiral staircase. It sounded like a grudge, a blessing, a hate, and a love. It was distorted. It was twisted. It could never be said to be normal. Subaru became convinced that it was indeed serious, inhaled deeply, then held his breath. His heartbeat began to accelerate, his chest thudding as he ascended the steps. Fortunately, the stairs had been crafted from stone. With care, he could silence his steps, especially since the enemy should be focused at the child in its arms. Subaru steeled himself to call for Pyrrhixz at a moment's notice as he slowly climbed the stairs. The tension escalated as the sound coming from above grew louder and closer. Although the tower itself was high enough that Subaru needed to crane his neck to see the top, there was nothing of note on the journey up. A large pillar sat in the center of the tower, and the spiral staircase circled it along the wall of the building. The voice of a demon and the voice of a hero came from the end of those stairs. One single window faced the outside of the tower, presumably to give people access to adjust to check the spellstones installed on the clock tower. The sound came from the space just before that window. It gave off a comparable feeling to an attic. Subaru steadily peered out from under the stairs, and saw that there was indeed two stray figures exchanging words that interrupted the silent darkness. There was no one else. It was safe to say that horror stories with witch cultists lurking in the shadows had been avoided. Then, all that was left was for Subaru to look for an opening, and strike the first blow. Capturing her alive would not be possible, although that was what he wanted to do. the degree of difficulty would be too high. Not to mention that as long as she was alive, who knew what kind of tricks she could pull. Subaru crouched down and put his hands on a handle. He grabbed hold of what was held by his waist holder and yanked it loose. In his two-handed grip was a weapon with an elongated, curved end, woven from special fibers. The weapon was commonly known as a bullwhip, and some archaeologists in some of his world's most famous movies had been known to carry them while exploring ruins. This one in particular had a longer range, and were more difficult to manipulate than the one held by that archaeologist in the movies. But in the past year, under Klein's tutelage, Subaru's skills had vastly improved. Among all kind of weapons, Subaru had chosen the whip as his main weapon. Unlike swords, hammers, spears and bows, the whip was incredibly versatile. More importantly, with weapons like the sword, Subaru's potential improvement in just a few short years was incredibly limited. Subaru already had a little familiarity with swordplay in Kendo, and knew exactly how difficult it would be for him to reach any heights using that weapon. Therefore, Subaru chose neither the spear nor the sword, but the whip. Originally, he had always relied on his smarts, creativity, and trickery to win. In that case, a weapon that played to his strengths would allow him to better exert his powers. Whips would also allow him to attack from mid-range. The distance from the end of the stairs to the creepy figure was about 4 meters. That was also the limit of Subaru's range. To make sure his strike would connect, he must take one step. No, it should be okay to take only half a step before stepping in and swinging the whip. In any case, the ability to kill in one shot was not to be expected of a whip. To try and do just that, other factors needed to be relied upon. In this situation, devoid of factors other than natural ones, there was no choice but to use height. In that case, there was no choice but to strike from a distance. Subaru inhaled gently and exhaled slowly. Then he held his breath again. He stood up and continued to climb the stairs, clutching the whip with his right hand. The figure hidden in the shadows did not detect him lurking behind. That gave him the upper hand. Subaru took a half step forward and flung his arm upward. With a sharp whistle, the tail of the whip flew towards its target. The preemptive sideways attack, which sought to prioritize its curved, angled speed over power, seemed to mirror a move in badminton. The head of the snake cleaved through the air, biting towards its target's unprotected back, trying to entangle that wicked figure's neck and down into the abyss. However,
why are you so angry?
The silhouette whose back was facing him replied in a distracted voice. Immediately thereafter, the shadow swung her right hand at lightning speed to deflect the blow from Subaru's whip, using the chains that hung around her arm. It was as if a silver snake had soared through the sky to intercept a flying snake. For a second, Subaru was stunned by that sight, but recovered and moved his arm diagonally, determinedly that the front of the whip had indeed made contact with its prey.
Oh my!
With a little giggle, the collapsed figure, Sirius, regained her balance and climbed to her feet. Although the chain dangling from her right arm had deflected Subaru's blow, the whip bit into part of the chain's locks, dragging Sirius to the ground as Subaru yanked on it. Facing the struggling Sirius, Subaru further tightened his grip as he rushed towards that bandaged freak in a semicircle, ramming into her with his shoulder. Her body, which was lighter than expected, easily flew forward because of his body mass. Sirius gave out a soft cry, and, after thudding onto the ground, tumbled through the window, just as Subaru had planned. Much more than 10 meters spanned their location to the ground floor. There was at least one child that would be crushed like fruit, had it fallen from this height.
Are you okay, Losbell?
Subaru did not confirm Sirius's impact, instead running to the other figure on the floor. That small boy belonged to Luzbel, who held the ends of the chain in both hands, gazing up at Subaru with fear. The chain in his hand was connected to the chain wrapping around his entire lower body. Another expression of Sirius's bad taste.
That guy, forcing you to tie yourself up.
Little by little, he realized the extent of the horror Luzbel might have tasted, being forced to hold that chain against his neck, quite literally strangling himself. Even now, traces of terror were still engraved in his face. Once aware of that maliciousness, Subaru felt uncontrollable anger. He immediately grabbed the boy's shoulders, taking the chain from him.
Enough! You'll be fine. You'll never have to do such a thing again. Come with me!
But if I don't follow the terms of our agreement, then Tina...
Luzbel replied, eyes watering and lips quivering. Seeing him, Subaru's throat became choked with emotion. That child had, in an attempt to protect the childhood friend, agreed to a deal with the devil. And, even experiencing what he had, Luzbel was more worried about his friend than about himself. Even though his legs were trembling, even though his teeth were chattering, even though his vision was being blurred by tears, even though he was no longer capable of forming coherent sentences.
It's okay. In the city, there are many reliable people.
His hoarse voice was unable to say what he wanted to say. In order for the youth to feel at ease, he needed to speak comforting, authoritative words. The Sword Saint was in the city right now, as was the Knight of Knights, the kingdom's leading healer, and various other people that could destroy a small city. Therefore, there was no need for any fear. No evil forces could run rampant. Yeah, exactly. Fear was completely unnecessary. There was no need for it at all. And so...
my legs, stop shaking!
In front of Luzbel, whose eyes had become unfocused with fear, Subaru desperately beat his unresponsive legs and yelled. His voice, laced with grief, unexpectedly echoed, compounding the fear residing in his chest. Subaru felt as if there was a sense of disgust, with an unidentified origin, entangling his entire body. Luzbel vomited yellow, with a sound like the bursting of a bubble. His started to cramp up as he exhaled, collapsing in a pool of his own vomit. Subaru wanted to help him up, but then he felt as if his own organs were being twisted inside himself. Subaru also succumbed to the discomfort of his internal organs, and he spewed out the contents in the stomach, feeling as if he had been thrown into flight. The daisiyaku he had eaten in the morning had become unrecognizable, and the acrid, visceral smell of his garlic acids were overwhelming. Gulping, Subaru continued to reach vigorously, tasting only pain as his vomit threatened to drown him. While he vomited and vomited, dizzily, tinnitus ringing in his ear, eyes turning in their sockets, his body was still shivering non-stop, not from cold. An invisible hand was twisting his stomach, his internal organs being shuffled around. Subaru was aware of its origin. They were undoubtedly...
Your fear is but proof of your gentleness.
Hearing the gentle voice coming from behind him, Subaru vomited again, almost drowning in the fluid overflowing from his stomach. Subaru collapsed onto the dirtied ground. He felt a touch of slimy liquid on his cheek. He was so close to the accumulation of filth on the ground that every repeated shallow breath led to bursting of a yellow bubble. Most people would not be able to bear such a terrible sight, yet she gazed at it with a soft smile, while Subaru and Luzbel looked at each other, desperately struggling to breathe in their own vomit, racked by invisible tremors.
People are able to understand each other. People can become one. Gentleness does not exist for oneself, it exists for others. Gentleness only shines because it exists for the sake of others. Only being gentle yourself, that is selfishness. So your gentleness, existing for the sake of others, is worthy of reverence. This is love. Please feel it as your heart desires. Let me witness your heart's contents. Feel, and let me witness your love, your endless tenderness, your virtue that bid you to save Luzbel-kun.
As she spoke, Sirius broke into a dance as she gazed at the two, both lying in a pool of vomit. She crossed her arms with one hand pointing to Subaru and the other to Luzbel, shaking her waist, as if dancing, as if offering a tribute.
You two gentle souls will feel together Luzbel-kun's fear. You shall feel Luzbel-kun's fear, and through that, Luzbel-kun's feelings will pass to you. Luzbel-kun, through your fear, feels what you shall feel again from him. Your fear is once again felt, and Luzbel-kun's own fear is compounded. Your compounded fears, felt by Luzbel-kun, shall in turn compound your own fear. That fear, mixed with Luzbel-kun's fear, will become a brand new fear, fresh fear, and the freshness of Luzbel-kun's fear shall once again be passed to your true fear. The true fear that you feel, and a second, and a third fear, born through Luzbel-kun, will lead to his fear, and the next level of fear generated by Luzbel-kun's fear will be added to your own greatest level of fear.
Something was whispering into his ears. That overwhelming momentum approaching nonsense. Subaru had no time to try to comprehend those words. Why? Because for Subaru, everything passing through his hearing and vision was terrifying. If breathing was terrifying, then blinking was terrifying. But not blinking was very painful and unbearable. Even that pain existed only to be presented as a symbol of terror for Subaru today. Feeling one pain means feeling the pain that he would feel the next time. That would make Subaru feel conscious, endless, infinite fear. So refusing to blink would not do. But if he blinked, the world would fall into darkness for an instant. In that dark moment where nothing could be seen, he would not know what was happening. Although there might be nothing at all happening, he had no way of knowing for certain. Being unable to confirm anything was terrifying. If the unknown instinctively aroused fear, then to live was but an endless attempt to overcome the fear. In the end, that instinctively aroused fear, then to live... In the end, that so-called fear had always been the feeling of weakness that began to plague a creature upon feeling a threat to its life. Being able to have this emotion was synonymous with being a life form. The function of this horror was similar to pain. After all, creatures who left their instincts of danger behind could not survive. To numb your fear was to condemn yourself.
Oh my, you two look to be losing your minds. Loving and emotionally enriching people can sometimes be very fragile. That is because love is just painful. However, it is precisely because love exists that we can survive. This is really very difficult. Then I shall teach Tina-chan to help me. Luzbel-kun has worked hard.
Being numb to the value of life meant violating an inherent ability to survive. In other words, fear was necessary. Therefore, there was absolutely nothing to be ashamed about even praising the performance of feeling so frightened, like right now. Of course, that kind of thing was just an assumption, devoid any meaning. But conducting such thought experiments was the best method to resist an overwhelming, dominating fear in the hope of finding a victorious breakthrough, was it not? Subaru certainly thought so. Luzbel, in front of him, began to convulse as his eyes rolled back into his head. The light of that young boy's life was about to be extinguished. That was sad and regrettable. However, Subaru could not be discouraged. He would struggle and fight to the end. Wasn't that what he vowed? Even in that terrible, toilsome, damaging trial last year? If not, why exactly did Subaru find it so sad and painful to survive? Even so, scary.
Very, very scary. Terrifying. Everything was terrifying. Alive. Terrifying. Blinking. Terrifying. Breathing. Terrifying. Rancid. Terrifying. Disgusting. Terrifying. Scary. 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 Scary.
After the sun ends and they chat again, shouldn't we prepare food and drinks for them next, Kisama? Indulging in sweet snacks will certainly create a mood that will close the distance between them. Don't you think so?
Immediately after blinking, the world flipped upside down again, and Subaru collapsed as soon as he heard the fresh sound. A girl's awkward face approached and caught his fall as he collided fiercely with her forehead. A sharp voice cried out. Subaru stumbled several steps backwards from the sudden, piercing pain. Somewhere in front of him, a sound of something falling into the grass was made. Subaru did not respond immediately, as he was too busy rubbing his forehead.
What? Just...
What's wrong, Subaru? You suddenly headbutted Liliana. That's no good. If you don't like the other person, you shouldn't resolve your differences by taking it out.
That's right, in fact. Before resorting to violence, we should give that uncouth-looking girl ample warning that we want to send her flying, I suppose.
Am I really so ugly?
Liliana leapt to her feet with an unexpected cry. Upon hearing her words, Emilia and Beatrice exchanged glances without speaking. Liliana suffered another metaphorical blow and collapsed again.
Priscilla line.
Who wants to take
What a
Priscilla?
ridiculous farce. Commoners are not allowed to treat mine songbird in such a manner. This shall not happen again.
Perhaps refusing to condone the violence being imposed on Liliana, Priscilla issued a complaint about Subaru's behavior. Subaru gave her a vague nod, confirmed his location once again, and...
Disgusting.
A second reset had not changed his evaluation of that monster at all.
And that is Arc 5, Chapter 20. We're gonna do a brief 5-minute. I forgot Sirius had another rant in there. Good job.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I mean,
Holy
it's
shit.
part of the course, the next few chapters.
Yeah, Wolf, good job on the scary,
I
terrifying.
really hope I captured the absolute terror Subaru was feeling in that scene.
Yeah,
is why I specifically requested to narrate that myself, is because I felt it would really help you, like, relate to the fact that he is literally dying of shock from so much fear.
There's something I wanted to say about this chapter. So it says earlier on that, like, he's preparing to wait to call for Beatrice at a moment's notice, right?
Right.
Then after he knocks Sirius, through the window or whatever, the narration makes it clear that he didn't pay attention to, if she died or not. That's fine, but why didn't he call for Beatrice then? What was the point in just not...
So, it's kind of subtle, but it seems like he was already under Sirius's influence by the time he got her out the window.
Yeah.
So when he did the swing, she already kind of had like thoughts of his mind.
The thing is that when Subaru feels anger at that moment, I interpreted it as Sirius feeling anger towards Subaru. If that makes sense, and then that kind of thing being, closely related, and then Subaru loses all rational thought and starts to get swept up into the emotions.
Yep.
And then when Sirius starts making them, rebound their fear off each other, as it was described over and over again.
Well, if you think that Sirius's anger rubbed off on Subaru and that's why he didn't call Beatrice, then why was the first thing he did make sure Lisbeth is okay after...
Well, no, you've also got to understand that his intent, he has put a lot of strong emotion into saving Lisbeth. Calling Beatrice was a logical decision for him. This is something, it seems to be something that's parasitic, almost latches onto emotions and really amplifies them.
Right.
Subaru doesn't care for logical decisions in this moment. He's desperately trying to save someone.
Gotcha.
I have a couple of things that I would like to make the guess before we get further into reading about what he could possibly do. The situation doesn't really leave him with much. His biggest concern right now is, I can't leave Emilia alone. It almost makes me wonder, is he going to have to ask Priscilla or Liliana for any sort of actual protection for Emilia? Because there's not really much other options he's going to have out of this. He could have Liliana do a song, which could bring people over to their way, but then that means, more likely than not, that would bring also Sirius over there as well, and whether or not he can handle that situation wouldn't help. But he only has so many options. out in front of him. And this character, Sirius, is a character bound by chains, but is also chaining people's emotions together. It seems.
He did suggest that he would call Wilhelm or Julius, or he should have brought backup.
Enough time. Yeah.
But there's not
the
enough.
The question is, could he make it?
Yeah, so that might be another option too, is he might go back and try to recruit people. But we'll see. We shall see. Is there anything else?
For the next chapter, I'm not gonna narrate because, like, as I said before, my phone is like broken and I can't like put my good mic in front of my PC to like
That's
read
fine.
it while looking at it. So yeah, I'd prefer if someone else did it.
Yeah, I can do it.
Kiki,
Do
you
it
got it
yourself.
then?
Yeah, I don't have any lines in this one, so I can do it.
Okay, that's fine. Are we all ready to go, especially Narrator-chan, Subaru, and Sirius?
Yeah.
All set? All ready? All right.
Great. So what's the page number?
We are right now on page 21.
No, we're on. Is it just me? We're on 18. It's chapter 21.
Oh, is it different on a PDF format? I guess it is then. Because I
Yeah.
have a PDF open.
Yes, page 18 in the PDF, and then 21 in the page on the bottom right corner.
Yeah, you guys can, because mine's showing 21 for the bottom corner, but
Man,
page 18. I guess
before that
that's
section of the narration, I'd muted myself and I was taking loads of deep breaths to really exhaust myself and make it feel like I was scared, to get my heart rate beating.
Nice.
So by the end of the narration, my head was spinning.
Dude.
That's some dedication.
All right. I think we're ready to go back into then. If everybody's set to go. Thank you for everybody for sticking around, and let's get into chapter 21.
Arc 5, Chapter 21, The Optimal Solution. Subaru's second return by death hit him with an unprecedented sense of fatigue. Falling under the spell of madness twice had placed a tremendous burden on his mind. Especially the second one, the overwhelming fear had been imprinted deeply into him, and he had been fully aware of himself at the time of death. The shivering that came from deep within his being, the deep that would never cease, the individual named Natsuki Subaru breaking, his fragile spirit crumbling into powder. This death has probably occurred due to a mad, fear-induced heart attack. Sirius has been delighted to see Subaru so terrified, having been reduced to a machine whose purpose was to excrete fluid. He had wanted to rescue Luzbel and challenge her on his own, and that futile attempt had come at a horribly heavy price. However, although Subaru had died twice in as little as 30 minutes and had yet to produce material results, his time had not been completely wasted. Sirius, perhaps wishing to give Subaru some comfort before his death, had, in her sincere and respectful manner, explained exactly what had been happening to both him and Luzbel. That was
Our fear, compounding as we felt each other's feelings. The same principle as resonance?
Subaru had felt Luzbel's fear, and Luzbel felt that augmented fear from Subaru, which then transferred to Subaru. The never-ending cycle of fear would override any previous state of fear and eventually grew into the extreme, becoming fatal. There was no doubt that had been the cause of death, for both the first and his second death. The flow that had led to these events, the statements from Sirius, and her status as Wrath, these clues led Subaru to a conclusion. A scene that would have made people feel disgusted or angry had instead drawn smiles and laughs from them. Fear that had belonged to Subaru being transferred to a child, frightening him even further, before returning twofold to Subaru. Sirius's wrath would viciously manipulate the feelings of others for her own enjoyment. That was most likely a special form of magic that did not belong to any of the natural forms of magic belonging in this world. Just like Petalgeese's unseen hand, it was an ability belonging to the Sin Archbishops of the Witch Cult. This wrath was a power closely related to emotions. It was an ability befitting the Sin Archbishops. However, although Subaru had finally pieced it together after 2 deaths, that was the only intelligence he was certain of. Now the question was the conditions for the authority to be activated. In other words, the method to break out of this deadlock. Once the trick behind Pyrrhixz's sloth was found out, he became fairly easy to defeat. His authority had 2 sides to it, the unseen hand and slothful cancellation of others' action, and Subaru had been able to resist both. It was still unknown to Subaru the root cause of both these resistances. Although he now had his version of unseen hand, invisible providence, Subaru was still confused about all of that. In fact, considering the witch's scent relationship with his return by death, as well as his immunity to the effect of the white whale's fog of oblivion, Subaru had optimistically thought,
"Am I actually immune to the witch cult's foul techniques?"
However, his recent murders at the hands of Authority of Wrath seemed to have disproved that theory. Given his 2 encounters with Wrath, in the worst case, the triggering condition for the Authority might be the contract with Sirius. As soon as he heard her speak, as soon as saw her figure, Subaru had probably fallen under her spell. Taking that into consideration, finding a way to capture her would be difficult indeed. The most straightforward and reliable solution would also be the most extreme, to destroy the tower from a distance with magic. No contact would be made with Sirius, and he would not need to lay eyes on her. Knowing where she would appear, he could take the opportunity to launch a preemptive strike, and he would be able to ensure that return by death would not be triggered again. Only, he would need to disregard the sacrifice of a courageous child, and so Subaru would never seriously consider such an option. Sacrifices were necessary. Who would be self-righteous enough to say such a thing? To decide to an ulterior greater good at a price of others' lives, from the perspective of those who were sacrificed, meant that the entire world would be lost. Subaru would not tolerate the loss of his own life, so how could he arrogantly place a price tag on the lives of others? His goals were he had just as determined. He needed to rescue Luzbel and prevent any unnecessary sacrifice. What troubled Subaru most, however, was achieving both at the same time.
Then, to rescue Luzbel, the only viable way is defeating Sirius.
Should he try to rescue Luzbel by himself, the situation would end up the same as last time. No matter how much he struggled, trying to fight Sirius alone was tantamount to suicide. Sirius's combat skills were evidently nothing to scoff at. Although she wielded a chain, even deflecting Subaru's surprise attack was impressive in itself. Even considering Subaru's lack of experience in combat, the strike of a whip was too fast to be followed by the untrained eye. To have been able to react so quickly to a surprise attack, and to deflect it with her chains, how skilled must she be? Subaru could not even begin to imagine. In other words, what Subaru needed was someone with the power to overwhelm Sirius with pure combat skills, who trusted Subaru enough to help him, and who could resist the power of Sirius's wrath.
What kind of miracle would it be if I've just found a guy who coincidentally satisfied all those requirements?
Subaru sighed to himself as he considered his opportunistic line of thought. However, the notion that there would be someone who could remain unaffected by Sirius's power was not a baseless one. The presence of someone who, much like Subaru, could see through Sloth's power, was immune to Sirius's wrath was not that inconceivable. After all, Subaru's accreditation as Pyrrhixz's killer had only come around from his unique resistance to Pyrrhixz's power. Since everyone in the square had been taken in by Sirius's speech, he could assume that no one there had any such resistance to Sirius's authority, and therefore there was no Sirius killer present. At the square, 4 people, including Subaru, had been prepared to fight Sirius, but she had been taking special care to point them all out. And then, Subaru finally realized it. Larkins had been at the square.
Reinhard!
Although Subaru, extreme opportunist as he was, tried to resist engaging in commonplace thinking, he finally remembered the man whose presence was the very peak of opportunism. Although Subaru was not attempting to justify his delayed reaction, the reason it had taken so much to connect with Larkins with Reinhard was arguably the short interval between his deaths. A death followed by a death. Madness followed by madness. All happening in the span of a mere 15 minutes. In that state, being able to calmly identify the crisis and calmly explore countermeasures before choosing the best solution was nigh impossible. If anyone tried to belittle him, Subaru would have liked to respond with a sharp complaint about return by death. Subaru did not want to trigger return by death. If circumstances were permit, he would rather share a tranquil, peaceful life with Amelia, Rem, and Beatrice. However, this world would never permit Subaru with such a happy life. He was destined to live through every day while struggling desperately. So at this moment, Subaru was desperately making an argument.
I finally found you! I'm not letting you go so easily! Please call Reinhard here right now! This is an emergency!
So annoying. Why should I take the risk of being lectured by that red-haired bastard? You must be kidding.
A lively crowd has gathered around the two, who are angrily roaring at each other. The crowd seemed to relish the tense atmosphere, eagerly expecting a fight to break out at any given moment. Upon resurrection, Subaru had an epiphany and acted on it immediately. Like last time, he left Beatrice at Amelia's guard and used his errand as an excuse to leave the park. After leaving at the square, he had searched desperately for Larkins. Now, he had finally entered the negotiation stage. His search for Larkins had really been quite time-consuming, so upon seeing him, Subaru had roughly grabbed his shoulder, which led to their current quarrel. However, Larkins had only agitated Subaru further by shouldering him in retaliation. In any case, an argument was now inevitable. Subaru spoke rapidly and anxiously near Larkins' harsh glare.
Can you listen? Calm down and listen to me. I'm not playing around. If you don't want to die, hurry up and call Reinhard here, right now!
Huh? You devilish brat. Are you looking down on me? You think you can actually kill me? Forget that bastard, Reinhard. See if I don't kill you right here.
That isn't what I meant!
Larkins regarded Subaru's words as a provocation, and his anger started growing out of control. After all, Subaru and Larkins had never been on good terms. In addition, it seems that Larkins had a poor impression of Reinhard, who should be his comrade. Someone he would already be reluctant to call had been requested by someone disliked by him, and so Larkins stubbornly refused Subaru's request.
You stubborn, inconsiderate idiot!
Subaru gritted his teeth, looking at Larkins, and grabbed his head on his hands. Needless to say, Subaru, who had failed to speak clearly and calmly, was also to blame. However, seeing his negotiations being refused to such an extent, he could not help wanting to make a complaint. Although to Larkins, Subaru must have looked to be a raving madman. Subaru's hands were tied due to his inability to reveal any of his foreknowledge. However, the situation being what it was, Subaru had no other way. Subaru placed a hand on his chest, attempting to suppress his fear.
Larkins, this is not a joke. The reason why I want you to call Reinhard here is because there's a strong enemy I cannot handle.
Someone you can't handle? Don't think so highly of yourself.
Larkins snorted Darishly. Seeing that expression, Subaru lowered his gaze, took a deep breath, and opened his mouth. Don't come. Don't come while making such a wish. Subaru spoke.
The witch cult will show up here.
Huh?
Subaru opened his eyes as Larkin's face froze at his disturbing words. Finished, Subaru immediately looked down to his chest, but the pain he had been expecting did not arrive. The punishment for disclosing information that could potentially reveal his return by death had not taken place. First of all, he was decidedly relieved about this and dropped his shoulders. Although Subaru had not triggered return by death for a year now, the penalties associated with remain. In particular, when he attempted to spill everything to Beatrice, Subaru had been racked by the internal pain he had come to associate with return by death. It was as if the Witch of Envy, who was probably the one responsible for that black magic hand, had forgotten his commendable farewell gift to her at the witch's tea party in Sanctuary. How rude. Therefore, Subaru was still unable to discuss anything related to return by death with Beatrice or anyone else. Needless to say, he would share his knowledge with his partner, Beatrice, as long as he did not have to face punishment. But that was a long story, one that he did not have time to consider right now. At any rate, right now, the important thing was that Subaru had successfully told Larkins his legitimate reason for needing Reinhard, without being punished by those black hands. In fact, hearing the name Witch Cult, Larkin seems to reconsider his stance, dropping his gaze and narrowing his eyes in contemplation.
Hey, brat.
It's Natsuki Subaru. Stop always calling me Brat, Larkins.
That's Larkin's son to you, shitty Subaru. How much credibility does that statement have? Using the witch cult as a bluff isn't something to do lightly, you know.
Larkin spoke with a low voice, casting a hostile gaze at Subaru. In this world, the name of the Witch of Envy and the witch cult are incredibly weighty, no matter where they appeared. This stemmed from the fact that the idea of the witch being the embodiment of absolute evil was deeply rooted in the world's history. Even Larkins was wearing a serious expression, one that he would normally never reveal. He was finally taking this seriously, so now Subaru could only respond with equal seriousness to him.
I'm not kidding around, nor lying. The witch cult will come here. Many people will be in danger.
Where did you hear that? Ah, damn it. That's right. Your faction did kill the witch cult Sloth. Fuck. That shit's actually got some credibility.
Before Subaru could come up with a response, Larkins found his own conclusion. Although that was in fact mere speculation, that merit seemed effective in having Larkins believe him.
Are they targeting the city, or this specific square?
So you're going to believe me?
You're the one who said stop messing around, right? Listen up, shitty Subaru. Although I don't want to be lectured by that bastard Reinhard, I also don't want to run into trouble that could kill me. Since what happens next is entirely dependent on my mood, you better be careful with your next words.
Although Larkin still held some measure of doubt, he wanted to hear the details. Surprised at this reasonable judgment, Subaru decided to continue with the conversation.
I understand. Sorry. The witch cult's wrath is planning to attack the square. She will appear at that clock tower, and her target is everyone in the square, not any specific individual.
That's consistent with the witch cult style. Damn it. How much time do we have?
There's probably only 5 minutes left, so seriously, call him right now.
5 minutes? You're kidding! Why didn't you say that sooner?
That's what I was trying to tell you 5 minutes ago!
Although Larkins was outraged at the lack of time, Subaru had spent 10 long minutes finding him and convincing him. Subaru had not wished to walk this kind of tightrope if possible. Running around the city and calling for Reinhard would have been more reliable than talking to Larkins. However, time did not allow that of Subaru.
Anyway, please, Could we stop messing around so you can call Reinhard? According to your conversation yesterday, it's through something like fireworks, right?
Fireworks? What's that? I shoot magic in the air and that bastard Reinhard can see it and recognize it as a signal.
That's simple and clear, which is good. But what would happen if someone else suddenly fired magic into the air?
There's no need to worry about that. Apparently the red-haired bastard can tell who's responsible for which magic.
Even being unaware of the details, Subaru can tell how out of the ordinary that ability was. Then, he belatedly realized the obvious. It seemed that, during the past year, Larkin had also improved himself to the point where he could use basic magic. It was hard to imagine that he was capable of using magic back when Subaru first met him, 1 year ago.
I'm not a performer, so move aside already, you annoying bunch.
Larkins finally gave in to Subaru's persuasion and prepared to call Reinhard. The crowd, who had been whispering,
Are they
starting yet? Is it finally happening?
Backed off, disappointed, as Larkin raised a hand, needing mana. Seeing the swirl of red mana, of fire attribute magic, Goa, Subaru felt an odd sense of unsettling disconnect. This time, the situation should have drastic changes and move forward. Although it had been a rather extreme case of persuasion, Subaru was still excited to learn that he could work with Larkins like this, even if the latter's actions were based on self-preservation. This could be said to partially amount to Subaru's growth in the past year, and his defeat of Petalgeese. Larkins, too, have changed in the year past. Whether Subarus or Larkins, if one of them had not changed in the previous year, then this collaboration could have never have happened. Therefore, this result had been born of a simultaneously optimistic yet realistic growth. Reinhard would come here. As a result, dealing with Wrath would also be easy. No matter how powerful the enemy was, they would be dwarfed by the Sword Saint. The authority of Wrath surely would not work on Reinhard. For some reason, Subaru trusted that mysterious sense of this.
Goa!
Larkins recited the incantation, and a red flame burst forth from his raised arm. The flame skyrocketed, and soon exploded with a dry sound in the blue sky. Call it fireworks or magic, it seemed a little shabby, but that signal was presumably more than good enough for the hero it was meant to reach. Perhaps what happened next was due to that hazy relief. Because, of course, it was obvious. He should have thought about it. Had the thought of Reinhard's arrival caused him to relax so much that he neglected to pay attention to his surroundings?
Oh my, there seems to be a fireball in the sky. What a beautiful, blinding light.
If any commotion arose near the clock tower, it was only natural that the enemy would detect it. Sirius, appearing on the white tower, wore that bandage concealing her face, as always. However, the expression she wore was obviously a smile. Something about the tone of her voice reflected a little bird chirping melodies in the sunny spring. Sirius raised a hand over her eyes and squinted at the brilliance of that Goa. She seemed to be regarding that red flame with the same admiration most people would treat fireworks with.
This is great! Well, everyone, my apologies. Good morning!
That unusually high-pitched sound snatched the crowd's attention from the fireball, and they turned to face Sirius. Even Subaru did, so he could not blame their collective reaction.
No! Don't look!
Seeing that fierce, bandaged smile out of the corner of his eye, he immediately issued a loud warning. However, not a single person heeded his warning and looked away. Of course, Subaru himself had held the same feeling about Sirius, their first contact. Even if he turned his face, his left cheek could still feel that intensity. Those vicious waves of danger that existed to threaten his life. Faced with a bloody carnivore, how could anyone avert their gaze? Looking away from a dangerous pair of sharp fangs could only be done by those who had already given up on living. Refusing to die, their human instincts directed their gaze upon Sirius.
Oh my, science came much faster than I expected. This must be thanks to those two men who attracted your attention before I appeared. Thank you! Please applaud those two young men!
Sirius clapped her hands together as she spoke, and the chains attached to them clattering on the floor, as she regarded Subaru and Larkins, who still held his arms outstretched. Subaru, feeling a cold breeze on his face, clenched his teeth and attempted to refrain from reacting to Sirius's gaze. Redirecting Larkins' attention would be impossible. He had already been entrapped by Sirius. No matter what Subaru did, he would be unable to get through Larkins, and then Sirius would entrap him as well. In fact, now, Subaru could not bring himself to cover his ears. He had expected that even being aware of Sirius would mean her charm would become irresistible. Therefore, what Subaru had originally intended to do was immediately avert his gaze and cover his ears. Even if such measures would render him defenseless, he would not be subjected to her mental manipulation. However, after his eyes were captured, that premeditated countermeasure was no longer available. And why would he cover his ears? Because he didn't want to hear Sirius's voice. However, why would he willingly deprive himself of such a sound? His attention placed on her, Subaru forgot himself and turned to look at Sirius. Sirius watched Subaru as he did so, gleefully clapping her hands together and shaking her body from side to side. The chains again rubbed against the ground with metallic friction and a rattling noise, as if reflecting the defenses of Subaru's strong heart being broken down.
Alright! It took 19 seconds for everyone to see me here. My apologies, but I am very happy, and although I do not know why, it seems to me that there's a child here who loves me far more than expected. Well then, I have to introduce myself.
As she spoke, Sirius lowered her head respectfully, facing a whirlpool of anxious gazes. Raising her head, basking in everyone's gaze.
I am a Sin Archbishop of the Witch Cult, representing Wrath. I am called Sirius Romanicanti.
She reported her daunting name. That title should have been the symbol of disgust and terror, and should have evoked an incredibly negative response. Instead, as she opened her speech, the crowd reacted as if she had introduced herself as a friendly neighbor.
Oh, thank you. My apologies for taking up everyone's time like this. However, please rest assured that I will put an end to all this soon.
Will you? Then it seems fortunate that I rushed here as soon as I could.
The voice that replied was deeper and softer than Sirius's fiction kindness, and permented touched the hearts of the people of the square, Subaru included.
Huh?
Sirius lowered her gaze once more, and Subaru and the rest of the crowd turned to the side. They were all facing the waterway which ran behind the square. A smooth flow of water erupted alongside the wind of someone moving at incredible speed. There, a red flame burned. There, clear sky-colored eyes blinked. There, a fair, calm face revealed by all who gazed upon him appeared. The embodiment of the concept of a hero, envisioned by all humans, was now a reality.
Searching for a shortcut took a little bit of time. Sorry for being late.
The hero took not 5 minutes, but 30 seconds to arrive, and offered his apology. Having sprinted through the roads, having traveled by waterway, the recently arrived sword saint swept his eyes quickly through the circles of people, before raising the eyes towards Wrath and sighing.
I understand why I was called. The judgment was correct, Larkins. Or was it you, Subaru?
Leaping from the water to the ground, and then into the square, Reinhard relieved the stiff Larkins, then patted Subaru's shoulders with his hands. Recognizing the touch of those palms was real, Subaru gave several gasping exhalations as his whole body shuddered.
Reinhard?
Yes, it is me. From the looks of it, this is quite the emergency. Standing overhead at that tower. That is a Sin Archbishop, right?
Reinhard, offering a reassuring nod, stood in the spotlight. Subaru saw his fair eyebrows wrinkle as he deliberately chose not to face Sirius. Reinhard seemed to also understand the danger.
She has a brainwashing ability, although it feels a little better now. If I heard her voice, or looked at her now, I'd immediately fall under Bakit's spell.
I know, and not just sound and sight. It seems that even feeling her presence in my skin will have that effect. I do not know if I'm able to remain calm for long when near her.
You're kidding? Even you?
Hearing Reinhard's vulnerable statement, Subaru fell into speechless despair. Although he had no basis in believing so, he had been convinced that as long as Reinhard were here, everything would be fine. However, Reinhard himself had told Subaru that he would not be unaffected by Sirius. In that case, it would be difficult to even come up with an idea on how to deal with that wicked presence.
I apologize if mistaken, but could it be that you're the famed Sword Saint, son? If so, what a wonderful day this will be.
As you said, I am Reinhard von Astrea, the current inheritor of the title of Sword Saint. Unfortunately, I think that title is too heavy for me now.
Nonsense! But that poses no problem. It is very nice to have you here, because this country bears the greatest trust and highest expectations in you as a knight. Everyone loves you, and you love everyone. You are the embodiment of my hope, the ideal of my love.
Am I?
Sirius was indeed shaking her hands noisily and engaging in an ecstatic dance. Reinhard, although facing away from her, was chatting with her quite casually. If communicating with her would lead to falling under her spell, then Reinhard's lack of action equated to suicide. Subaru spoke up anxiously.
Hey, Reinhard! Going on like this isn't good. It's not good at all. It'll be really bad, though I can't say why.
That looks to be the case indeed, and that is not applicable to me exclusively. Taking the others into consideration, I cannot prolong this too much.
Subaru should feel anxious, but gradually became unaware of why. Reinhard sighed at his puzzlement and took a step forward. Then...
Reinhard?
I cannot hold on for too much longer, so I will get rid of the problem as soon as possible.
As soon as those words were faded, Reinhard tensed his legs slightly and leapt forward. That was the same movement he had used to leave the waterway, but this time, it produced a rippling blast, and everyone in the area gasped as they felt the impact of waves spread over the ground. Leaving behind that share of amazement, Reinhard turned the explosive energy into ascending momentum.
How impressive this is!
The kick of the ascending sword saint effortlessly struck Sirius, who had crossed her arms to receive the blow, and she was pushed far into the sky above the White Tower.
And so ends Arc 5, Chapter 21. We have 2 chapters remaining. How are you guys feeling?
Things are getting serious.
Very tense.
Very tense.
Why so serious?
Sorry about You're going to try to control us again.
What's that?
I said, Goal's going to try to control us again.
No, don't worry. Continue with the discussion, please.
Wow, dude. It's kind of strange, because this enemy specifically, I guess out of all we know of Reinhardt, this is the one thing that could actually, affect him. For the fact that it's just emotions. It's not like anything else. We finally got, or at least I as a reader now, have gotten some confirmation that the moment Subaru looked at the other people who also wanted to attack, that only probably strengthened their connection that she could use to now just use them however she wanted in that regard. And you're just like, wow, there's just very subtle things you're not completely paying attention to.
I can't wait for this to be animated. Reinhardt's entrance. Like, I hope we get a season 3.
I love how it explains it's like when he leaps from like the pool he's standing in, there's like an explosion of water in the air around him. He's just that fucking strong.
Imagine saying sorry. Imagine saying sorry I'm late when you took 30 seconds after seeing a sudden flare across the town. Like
somebody in chat said, "Oh guys, look, quicker. Jesus is here."
Somebody said Built Different is here.
Jesus Kun.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, it's just like this whole thing was very tense, and then like it sucks that he's arguing with the one idiot where this is not going to work.
Hey,
and Larkin's
don't make
just,
fun of me, you little shit.
Oh, you're an idiot. Jesus, man. The first part, while he was ranting back at Subaru, I was like, you realize this is the same dude who fought the Witch Cult already, right? And then after I've already said it, then he finally comes up with the idea like, oh yeah, this guy actually would probably be talking about the thing that made sense. Huh. I can finally put all that together. I guess I should call him. Sorry, dude. I know we've been arguing for about 10 minutes. I don't want to save myself. I guess I might as well call him now.
It's just his initial, like a punk's initial response. You know, you can tell that he's obviously.
Well, he's 100%.
He's always just 100% on edge all the time. And the moment he has the reason to snap at somebody, he does it even if it's not warranted.
He's a thug, like embodiment of a thug. Everything's a fight. Hey man, how you doing? Why are you saying hey? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Which is bad because, emotional resonance, right?
Yes, yeah. And these two hate each other, and that's also that's an immediate, like, trick. There's so many things now where you're like, okay, if these emotions are in the same place, it's terrible. Like, this is a very, very difficult thing to deal with. I do like the fact that I think when we started off this chapter, Amelia and Beatrice, the first words were, you have to be kind to Liliana. You can't just act a certain way just because you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a very, like, oh, wow, you guys are really pushing on this. Oh, he has to control his feelings in a sense.
Yeah.
Did he get like a moment of kind of fighting against, like he was trying to? I don't think it was long, but he did try to fight against.
Yeah,
an attempt was made. Yeah.
He looked away.
He said 9. So this. Another thing we got is time. She said 19 seconds. It took her 19 seconds to do that.
Yeah, she knew exactly on the second.
Yeah.
She was counting.
It's crazy.
It's honestly like the tragedy of this loop for Subaru is that he, like, as he admits, like the reason he didn't think of Reinhard almost immediately, he's under so much stress at such a short period of time.
Right.
Like, it's literally 15 minutes, and he needs time within that to think about what he has to do. He can't just do a stupid fucking anime moment and just freeze time and think and plan. He has to do everything at once. He's panicking super fucking hard.
I was worried that
and he's also got this huge vertigo for him as well, because you got to remember, like, he's being manipulated by these emotions he's not actually supposed to be feeling.
Yeah.
And return by death is instant. So literally as soon as he dies, bang, he's back there and having to recover from, like, not feeling that. Just as, like, it's like screeching stop in a really fast car.
Hear me out. So this is completely my fault, but we did have a later start today. I'm looking at the time right now, and I have about like an hour 15 before I have to leave. If we cuck them at the end of 22, it's gonna be such like a dick move, but it's also a cliffhanger.
Yeah, okay.
So
let's do it then.
Cliffhangers are best.
There's more discussion to be had after next chapter, especially, which is why I want to be able to fully discuss it before I go and get drunk at a Japanese hot pot restaurant. The biggest question right now, why is the witch called Here of All Places? Stay tuned on the HollowGraphic YouTube channel. Maybe we'll find out. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Should I do the next time on Dragon Ball Z thing? Should we do that right now?
Yeah, I'm going to do that to you guys. You handled Lustiff. You'll be fine.
Next time on ReZero-Z, will Reinhardt be able to defeat the Witch Cult member? Will we be able to figure it out?
I completely forgot to at Pat when his part was coming up, so when he just came bursting in, I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
He just showed up like...
Oh no, I did that earlier before because...
Am I late? Yeah.
Oh, so this time Subaru summoned Reinhardt. Okay, I see how it works.
You act like
Reinhard, I summon you!
You act like I'm
I am
you
here,
guys.
Master Subaru.
Oh god. Do not
Hell
call
yeah!
him Master. It'll only inflate his ego.
I'll make you my bitch.
It's only a little
Julius, come
banter,
here.
Julius.
I'm well aware. I'm not really... Okay, this is a cliffhanger, guys, but at the same time... It's either that or we cut midway through chapter 23. So, take
Which
your
is
pick.
not an option.
Yes.
Oh,
It is
either
in
be
next
more...
chapter 22.
We're gonna end at 22, yeah. We do have a light novel illustration image unlocked, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's the next chapter.
Yeah.
We do! We indeed do.
Well...
Also, if Larkins isn't in this at all, Nugget locked herself out of the apartment, so I have to go down and get her at some point. So I'm gonna...
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna
You
be
should probably
here.
go do that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be leaving my setup and running downstairs. So yeah, if there's a Larkins line, just someone cover for me. I don't think there is, but...
I don't think
It's okay,
there is
man.
either.
Okay.
We got this.
Is there anything else you want to discuss before we go into chapter 22?
I was just going to say the fact that she technically moves at the speed of sound because she blocked a whip. I just thought that was important. About it.
Anything from you, Kyles, or anybody else?
Who's narrating
I
this
just
chapter?
wanted to.
What's up, Jace?
I wanted to apologize for having no music in like that last
It
part.
kind of worked,
because
honestly.
It scared half of chat.
Yeah,
we were talking about how
it's
scared
the-
they were.
music bot like decided to fuck me over, so that was fun.
Do you want to test it now before we get started?
Yeah, we totally could.
I'm not. Sylvan and I already tested it, but it is more like a problem with the title I used, and it assumed I wanted a different. Assumed I wanted a different song.
It's all good. It's no big deal. Couldn't have Subaru just wait through the fire. Wait, what? What? Couldn't Subaru? What? I don't know what this is asking, but okay. Yeah, we're on chapter 22.
Subaru needs a bow and arrow. Subaru needs to just shoot an arrow and just let it fly, and then it'll be good.
Okay. Hello, sleeping bag. Welcome to the stream. Wait, what? You can narrate, Kanda? Hello?
Kanda is having issues with his headphones at the moment.
Oh, I see, I see.
So who?
Kyle's wanted to
Kyle's, you could
narrate
probably
there.
narrate this one, because I don't think Mealy's too much in this.
I think she only has like one line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
can
you
do
don't mind.
Kyle's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's
be
okay.
running downstairs, so I won't be able to hear like half of this. So
Go save Nugget, go on.
Go save her, Hollow.
save Nugget.
Only you can do it.
she lost her keys in the Uber, so
Oh.
yeah, I'll be
Oh,
back.
gosh.
Believe in you. Need the power of
I
friendship.
believe in it. Ichiban. Okay. Whenever you guys are ready.
All right. Chapter 22, A Casual Response. Could this be called aerial warfare? Reinhard had leapt towards Sirius, knocking his opponent from the tower and sending her flying through the sky. Touching down on the white walls of the clock tower.
My headphones are working.
Kanda, we can hear ya. Do you want to still narrate? He flew off like a bullet by slightly bending and stretching his knees again.
How impressive you are!
As the heroic figure flew toward her, she raised her voice, ecstatic, and waved her arms about. Accompanying that motion was a piercing whine of her chain unraveling from her wrist. That fully extended chain could now be used as a whip, although its merit as a weapon relied more on its intimidating appearance and violent sound, rather than convenience. Only a deviant with no common sense would opt for such a weapon. That iron snake had undoubtedly tasted the blood of more than just a few people, and at this moment it was partaking in one of its routine hunts. Attempting to crush its prey while its iron jaws, the whistling wind it created resembled applause. But even that blunt snake, who could approach the speed of sound, was clueless. In this world, there was a human existence as departed from common sense as Sirius, albeit in a different manner.
A chain. How troublesome.
Hearing the sound of the chain entering the fight, the Sword Saint frowned and gave a troubled mutter. In the midst of such an intense battle, he seemed to be letting out a slight grievance that was better suited for the atmosphere of mild annoyance in one's daily life. Sirius, on the verge of panting, revealed her passionate laugh to the spectators. Surely that was inevitable. However, the reasoning behind Sirius's delight was mysterious. Whether it was because of desperation, or whether she was genuinely happy, that much was clear to all the spectators looking up at the scene, Subaru included. This was a situation that only Sirius would have laughed in. Sirius flew upwards, and Reinhard pursued her from below. With Reinhard as her target, Sirius delivered a quick, precise blow, slamming the chains of both her arms. Even facing that oncoming chain, Reinhard did not reach for the sword hanging at his waist. If his words from long before were true, it was not that he did not intend to draw his sword. It was that he was unable to. Reinhard's legendary sword would only allow itself to face worthy opponents. In that case, he had been condemned to be unnamed while fighting that horrible freak. Even Reinhard, who Subaru had the utmost trust in, would need to undergo a bitter struggle. Perhaps he would even fail to live up to Subaru's expectations in a show of human weakness. If so, then that trust would soon be shattered. Aiming a follow-up strike of her chains at Reinhard, a high-pitched noise echoed. Shockwaves and sparks danced violently. To Subaru and the spectators, lightning seemed to flash through the sky. The ability to accomplish that kind of witchcraft was precisely the proof that Reinhard transcended the boundaries of human skill. Reinhard met the chain head-on, lifting his slender right leg to defend. The attack had not been so surprising that it would have elicited a laugh from anyone. Right after the impact, Reinhard wrapped the chain around his foot with a turn of his ankle, moving it to suit his own will. The movement itself had not been anything special. Reinhard had met the approaching chain with his right leg and wound it around his foot in a makeshift weapon, using it to open an immediate follow-up. In only a moment, he had easily shifted from offense to defense. Needless to say, not everyone could keep up with the fight. Among those present, only a handful of people with combat training could follow those rapid, continuous shifts between attacking and defending. In that moment of understanding, there was an urge to laugh. Subaru gave a long sigh and relaxed his shoulders. Fortunately, Reinhard was his comrade, and Subaru had never been happier that he was on his side. If he were the enemy, then Subaru's shoulders, knees, and bladder would have all given out. Sirius laughed loudly, her arm spinning wildly like a tornado. Since her left arm had been captured by Reinhard, she could only resort to use the right one. However, although the whistling snake tore through the sky, flying from every direction, it was blocked by the chain on Reinhard's right foot, creating a high-pitched whine and a shower of sparks. Every spark dancing in the blue sky was accompanied by the sound of metallic musical instrument that preceded the square, in a whirling performance of red and yellow. A strike, another blow, but during that period, Reinhard had further closed the distance between himself and Sirius. Soon after exchanging an array of blows, he reached her.
How unexpected! You've actually reached this point! Amazing!
You are very proficient. I find it a shame that you committed yourself to evil.
In those moments, the two exchanged words the way they exchange attacks. Reinhard quickly pulled back his right leg and thrusted his left hand to align fingers. Sirius greeted it with a powerful swing of her arm. The undulating chain diving at Reinhard with exposed fangs. And although that chain was made of steel, Reinhard had used his own hands as a blade and cleaved it in two. In the past, Subaru had witnessed the perfect splitting of disposable wooden chopsticks. A party trick. If Reinhard were to partake in those performances, he could split a steel blade like paper. The fact his strike had the beauty of a sword was enough reason to believe so. The severed portion of the chain continued with the same momentum it had into the clock tower. The violent collisions shattering one of the building's walls. The sight of smoke and the rubble crashing into the square shook Subaru out of his trance. He had been completely fascinated. Reinhard and Sirius's fight, no, Reinhard's fight, had entranced him. Whether it was envy or the fear that had caused said fascination was another matter entirely.
Leaving her to Reinhard is fine. Then I...
He could not continue to dawdle here, blindly ogling the fight and waiting for an outcome. Subaru squeezed through a gap in the crowd, running to the opening of the tower. Now that Sirius's attention was fully devoted to Reinhard, Luzbel, who had been prepared for her speech, had probably been abandoned in the clock tower. Saving him would ease Subaru's worries. Just in case, so that if Sirius got away from Reinhard, Luzbel's safety would be guaranteed. Subaru climbed anxiously up the spiral staircase, again tasting that dark, damp air. The tower was much brighter now than it had been 15 minutes ago, much thanks to the light flooding in from the walls broken by Sirius's chain. After safely ascending the spiral staircase, Subaru discovered Luzbel, bound in chains, on the top floor. He had been left face up on the ground, the floor wet by his incontinence. The child's sobs touched Subaru's deeply.
Luzbel! You're safe now. Don't worry!
Subaru tenderly took the chained Luzbel into his arms. He ignored the warm moisture as he saw Luzbel's desperate, tearful gaze turning away from his own, terrified of Subaru's face.
It's alright.
Sorry.
I'm on your side. And as for that monster, her reliable hero is fighting her right now. So, let's take this time to get you out of here.
Subaru spoke with the utmost certainty. Gradually, Luzbel's body lost its strength, abandoning his struggle, and he faced Subaru with a tearful but clear expression. After Subaru nodded in response to that inquiring gaze, Luzbel began sobbing anew, for a different reason than before.
Wait a second. Let me get this off you.
After gently stroking the crying boy's head, Subaru started cautiously working on the chain as to not hurt him. From the shoulders to ankles, the chain had been bound tightly, and he had also been gagged with it. Subaru took care to avoid hurting the child as he unraveled it.
Well, I got it off. Can you stand up? If not, I can carry you.
Don't worry. Thank you.
Luzbel rose unsteadily to his feet, shaking his stiff legs, offering his gratitude. Although his face was stained with tears, he was still a strong child. Subaru patted his head again. Then, as he turned his gaze to outside, where the violent offense and defensive sounds were repeatedly triggered.
Staying here might actually be safer, but we should probably get out just in case. Can you walk? Are you hurt anywhere?
My right arm, just a little bit.
Luzbel frowned and obediently presented his wound to Subaru. On his outstretched right hand was a sharp laceration that had been made by a snake-like weapon. Its origin was clear. Seeing the blood oozing from the wound, Subaru contorted his face in discomfort.
Bastard! Tying up a small child and even doing this to him?
No, this just suddenly started hurting while I was tied up.
Suddenly? Well, he had been tied up.
Subaru registered distractedly. At least, Subaru could not have hurt him in the process of unraveling the chain. His movements had been cautious, and Subaru would have noticed if he caused Luzbel any injury this serious. Terrible, ominous apprehension rose in Subaru's heart.
At any rate, we can't stay here. Let's go!
Subaru took Lustbel's uninjured left hand, running away, leading him to the bottom of the spiral staircase to the exit of the tower. And upon Subaru's return in the square, he heard,
"Kill her!
Kill her!
Kill her!
Kill her! Kill her! Kill her!"
The mob had plunged into a frenzy, eagerly awaiting the execution of that captured freak, calling for vindication. Eyes filled with bloodlust, mouth twisted in snarls, howling for murder. Endless abhorrence of evil, incredulous aversion to unnatural monsters, wanting to be rid of an enemy who could not escape at physiological level. Such negative emotions called for murder. And what was this called? This was known as wrath.
Kill her!
Kill
Kill
her!
her!
Kill her!
Kill her!
Kill her!
A crowd of complete strangers stood side by side as comrades, moving towards the same goal.
Kill her!
Kill
Kill
her!
her!
Kill her!
Kill her!
Kill her!
Their very hearts united in the face of adversity, and the philosophy of good and evil being questioned in the extraordinary circumstances.
Kill her
already!
Kill her! Kill her! Kill her!
Choosing to be united in such extreme conditions, pushing that limit that was...
Kill her! Kill her!
Kill her!
Kill her! Kill her!
Joining feelings into one, this is surely love, correct? Well, there's no doubt this is a scene only love could achieve, don't you agree?
In front of that hellish scenery, Sirius murmured in her usual voice. Sirius had been pressed to the side of the clock tower by the surrounding crowd eagerly cheered for the death of that unnatural person, knowing that their sword saint had the power to kill the abomination. Sirius seemed to have lost even the chain that was on her left hand, and it was in a precarious situation. With both hands unarmed, the monster had no way to defend against Reinhard's knife-like hand. She was clearly facing a dead end. However, Sirius wore her usual placid smile.
Are there any last words you want to say?
Thank you. Then allow me to offer you a piece of advice. The other Sin Archbishops may not be as docile as me, so if you wish to ask their last words, you might suffer for it.
I will keep that in mind.
In the face of Reinhard's warm kindness, Sirius spoke calm, provocative words. Reinhard nodded in compliance and stepped forward, ready to execute her with the blade that was in his hand.
Kill her!
Kill her!
Kill her! Kill her!
Kill her! Kill her! As the voice of the crowd grew in intensity, Sirius's fate had been sealed. This was obvious, so why? Standing at the entrance of the broken tower, Subaru felt a throbbing chill, which threatened to break his heart. Why? What did that mean? He desperately wanted to speak, but his mouth could not move. Once it did, Subaru knew what he could not say. Subaru certainly would join the loud cries of,
Kill her. We know each other. Mutual humility, mutual recognition. We forgive each other. That is exactly the correct form that love should take.
Subaru feeling subdued, Sirius continued to preach her rhetoric. At first glance, she seemed to make sense, but taking into account that it was Sirius saying so, the proposition at the atmosphere became horrifying. Reinhard seemed to have made the same judgment as Subaru. There was no longer any meaning in letting Sirius speak, so Reinhard moved forward. However, just before Reinhard reached her, Sirius smiled and held her arms into the air. Immediately, accompanied by a crackling sound, chains were ejected from the cuffs of her coat. Those chains were fired through her sleeves and then wrapped around the tower as Sirius began to fly once more. She intended to escape, but just before she could, Reinhard stomped onto the ground. Shockwaves spread upwards like an explosion, and a red flame attacked Sirius. His hand struck at her in a smooth upward motion. One hit death blow. In that moment, Sirius's life would end.
Kill her! Kill her! Kill her!
And the crowd's cry could be fulfilled. With a tremendous momentum, Subaru's heart spiked with fear, and driven by a sudden impulse.
Reinhard!
Calling upon the hero's name, Subaru yelled, guided by the impatience of the crowd.
Kill her!
Reinhard slashed. A clean line swiped neatly from Sirius's left shoulder to her right flank. That exquisite cut was so sharp that even Sirius' slashed body could not react to the slash for a few seconds. Finally, the blood in her body noticed the wound, and her body collapsed diagonally as blood began to spray.
Ah, this gentle world.
Her internal organs spilling out, Sirius's body was cleft in half. Her upper body continued soaring upwards, pouring blood and intestines throughout the air, while her lower body, left in place, became a fountain, sprinkling blood through the square. A nightmarish spectacle had been propelled into the heavens, above the earth below, respectively. No one could bear to look straight at the horror. However, no one looked away. No one could look away.
It cannot be.
After landing, Reinhard uttered a stunned mutter. Subaru saw that his blue eyes were shaking with grief, the shadow of despair enveloping his fair, handsome face. And then Subaru could see no more. Subaru and the rest of the crowd lay scattered in the square that had turned into a pool of blood. From their left shoulders to their right sides, everyone had been bisected, as clear as day. Blood and viscera spilling out, Subaru's consciousness did not have the time to understand what had happened before being pulled into the embrace of death. Just before that happened, he felt something else. A boy's left hand, whose owner had been split in twain, squeezed Subaru's own right hand tightly, seeking salvation from him. It seemed like he had felt that somewhere before.
After the song ends and they chat again, shouldn't we prepare food and drinks for them, Natsuki-sama? Indulging in sweet snacks will certainly create a mood that will close the distance between them. Don't you think so?
Ow! Ow! Ow, that hurts! It hurts, in fact, Subaru!
Immediately after the blink, Subaru was surprised to hear the voice he had just heard. The sudden switch in consciousness had him clinging to Beatrice's hand with the same vice grip that he had been making before his return by death, strong enough to crush Appa's. Beatrice tearfully kicked Subaru's shin after suffering from that sudden atrocity, who recoiled in pain and loosened his grip on her hand.
Why did you do that? Why would you attack Beatrice-sama's lovely hands so suddenly? You're going to ruin them. But it's okay. I'll kiss and lick them to heal them.
It's alright, I suppose. That's quite gross, in fact.
Beatrice flushed with panic as Liliana grabbed her hand. Blushing and breathing heavily, she ducked behind Subaru. Even if he had injured her hand, her trust in her partner had not diminished. Subaru, are you alright? Just now, you suddenly turned pale.
Amelia-tan.
Amelia joined his side, reaching a hand to his cheek. Her face rife with concern, Subaru saw himself reflected in her amethyst eyes and breathed a sigh. He had come back. He patted his shoulders and chest, which had been bisected. His abdomen had been cut, and his head had been smashed. Although Subaru was confident in his experience with deaths, this had been the first clear experience of being slashed down, taking precedence over pain with a sense of astonishment and loss, the knowledge of death tugging at Subaru's soul. This was the death that Subaru, who was commonly subjected to him, could accept.
Why can't I find a simple conclusion?
Once again catching up with the memories he had inherited, the realization of death assaulted him, forcing him to recognize it. Although he had not registered much pain, the sense of loss and shock hit Subaru one after the other. His partial understanding of the phenomenon grew, albeit not completely so. There remained an event beyond his understanding. This time, the cause of death.
Disgusting.
Needless to say, he had long understood. Subaru had been killed exactly the same way that Sirius had been. This time, to put it bluntly, Subaru had died in the exact same manner Sirius did. Looking back 30 minutes to that first death, Subaru died shortly after joyfully witnessing Lustbel's death. The previously unknown cause of death had now been identified. Somehow, someway, Sirius could deliver death to anyone who witnessed death. Not just brainwashing with emotional changes, even changes that occurred in the body could be shared. It was not merely brainwashing, but body washing, or could it be called soul washing? In other words, killing her meant that people in the square would be killed.
What to do?
Defeating Sirius, using brute force, could be achieved by calling Reinhard. However, that would come at a price of the life of everyone in that square. In that case, the result would be no different from Sirius's intended atrocities. Summoning Reinhard was nothing more than a correct and easy-to-understand solution at first glance. But it was, in actuality, the wrong answer. In this case, what could he do?
Call Reinhard? Tell him to take her alive.
That was unlikely, but perhaps not impossible to him. Since Reinhard was capable of killing Sirius, he should also be capable of depriving her of her consciousness. The problem was that it wasn't clear if her mental control would end with her being caught alive. Subaru had come in contact with Sirius and Lustbel, and had gone mad and died. If that mysterious madness continued to infect everyone, then capturing Sirius would be fruitless. If she were killed, everyone else would die with her. If she were caught, there was a possibility that she would spread her cognition of irresistible madness. Just existing made her a threat to others. She was this kind of bomb-like existence. She truly deserved her title of Sin Archbishop.
What else can I do?
Unable to find a breakthrough, Subaru found himself in a dilemma. If Reinhard were called, he would surely be able to kill or restrain Sirius. Would that be okay, ignoring the possibility to fall into madness? Time passed, even as Subaru pondered. Seeing Subaru staying quiet, those around him all appeared uneasy. Subaru did not want them to remain worried, nor to reveal what was going to happen. He hurriedly changed the expression on his face and announced,
"Ah! Right. That is... Yes, I suddenly felt like I was going to puke up the daisukiyaki from this morning. My chest was a bit uncomfortable."
Ah, I see. I too often feel nauseous, which is accompanied by a lot of gas.
Oh, stop right there! No matter how you act, you're still a girl!
Subaru interrupted, Liliana's jokes with a smile, and turned towards Amelia. Seeing that, Amelia lowered her gaze. If Subaru said so, I'll believe it. This is a special case, okay?
Thanks. Then, I'll go by desserts, as Liliana suggested. Emilia-tan, please continue to enjoy the song.
Thanks to Amelia's kindness, Subaru was able to make an announcement after wavering, then holding Beatrice's hand again.
Becco, come shopping with me. Let's take a walk and flirt like we always do.
What are you suddenly... I understand, in fact.
Beatrice, whose face turned red, showing her sun side, changed attitude upon seeing Subaru's face, showing a dare side. To put it more appropriately, she accepted his offer after noticing his pleading expression. Subaru took the confused Beatrice's hand and ran from the park for the fourth time, pulling on her hand. This time, rather than leaving Beatrice behind, he would bring his reliable partner with him, even though he had yet to reach any kind of breakthrough. Staring at the retreating figures of Subaru and Beatrice, the woman of Crimson watched the duo with a thoughtful expression.
And that will end Arc 5, Chapter 22. unfortunately the last chapter we're going to read today, but there's so much to this. The first thing that pops to mind is you're a hero, Reinhard. A hero is all you can be for this part.
And I failed.
Reinhard is not the solution.
Reinhard's not the answer. We also have a light novel illustration unlocked that I threw up on screen. And
oh god, yeah. It's
see,
fucking
let's dive right into Reinhard, because literally this shatters his entire mentality of, you know, being a knight and being able to save people. This completely throws it on its head.
I can bet the first thing he thought was, Dad was right, sadly. Probably doesn't know. Yeah. No. That was absolutely... I mean, arm... I don't think the arm, like... the first time we heard about, like, the arm pain with the child, I went, there's something wrong with this. Because it's just too... The solution was too simple.
Right.
Yes, Reinhard is a great solution in a sense, but that gave away that maybe something's not right here. This lady can still connect emotions, and as we saw later, then we slowly get the dive into madness with Wrath.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is more deaths in a, like a 30-minute span than most of, if not all of Arc 1, right?
I think so.
I think we've met Arc 1's death count.
This is also I believe this is the closest up until this point in the story that Subaru's ever reset. It's a 10-minute.
Yes. Yeah, completely. He's had hours before, and he's had days and weeks, but he's never had...
He had time to, like, kind of recollect and kind of gather himself, but now it's kind of like, it's go between...
The part is...
Not only that,
Subaru's
but Reinhard is not the solution.
Yeah.
And you would think, this was an easy solution, but it's like taking a sledgehammer to a very delicate, piece of art.
You're saying
don't use a hammer.
Kanda was saying something. Sorry.
If we're counting Rem, perhaps the Rem, wouldn't that technically be the lowest amount of time he's had to stop something?
With Ram. Yeah. Wait, I can barely hear Kanda.
With her memories being, gone.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be the biggest time crunch for him? Because he literally couldn't do it.
Holy shit. Wolf, would you know that? I don't know, honestly.
Oh, was this when he killed himself to try and save Rem?
Thanks for the 50, Sylvan.
No. Essentially, he had he at that point in time where he was looping back to, Rem was already gone.
I thought it.
The reason there's a detail pointed out in Arc 3 that is very confusing until you understand what happens to Rem. The letter Rem sends to the Roswell mansion is blank when it arrives. And that's because she was eaten before Subaru even started attacking the cult.
Right, I forgot. Right.
And so when Subaru realizes this, and a couple hours later they return to Cruce's estate and they find everything going on, he then kills himself. But it sends him a couple hours back, but that's still not enough.
I just think that what this chapter is really kind of showing is that Reinhard isn't the the go-to solution for everything. He's not the end.
Yeah, this is something I was going to mention here. Reinhard being like the most powerful is actually a problem here because he has too much power. So when he succumbs to Wrath's thing, he will kill her, and then everyone will die. Subaru can't rely on Reinhard because he's too strong in this situation. He needs someone who's not going to outright kill her if he's going to try and do this combat way.
Mm-hmm.
But, being able to match...
What?
Clearly a very good combatant, according to Reinhard.
Sleeping bag with a $500...
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What? Sleeping bag!
Yes, Lust if is confirmed.
We're getting paid, boys!
Jesus. What the fuck? I'm pulling your ass in a call, right? Dude, could you pay rent? Hello?
Pay rent. Man.
This chapter...
Broke him.
I have to step away. You guys... Jesus Christ.
Broke him.
Okay.
You did it. One.
We just did Lustiff. Now we gotta do it again.
Lustiff Part 2.
Again.
With now new characters, all the witches.
Oh,
what the fuck?
Yeah, but what about all the knights though? Come on.
All the
Oh
knights.
yeah.
It's gonna be a party today.
Oh my god.
Only 18 plus.
I just.
Do I have to leave the call again?
Your fun just blew up.
No, you're okay, Jay. Stay here.
So what
not
I want to
today,
do?
not today.
What I? Azir. 500 from a. I'm out. Bye guys. Have a great.
Oh my gosh!
I'm out. Peace.
Oh my god.
Have fun. You're with the VA.
Oh
my god!
Yeah, I broke him. Hey guys, this is a holographic channel.
Wait, Did he donate?
He's done now.
What the
Hollow's
fuck?
gone on to a new world.
That's insane.
Is this a prank? Someone said in chat.
I wouldn't even be mad if you charge back on this. I'm not even joking. I would not be mad.
Boys,
What
you're
the
gonna be able to
fuck?
feed yourselves this month. What the fuck?
And on that
Okay.
day, HollowGraphics
Okay.
mine was blown 3 times that day. Or
$1,000, I guess.
Another chapter now.
It was his fun.
Well, fucking goddamn it!
And we have a new subscriber.
Welcome to the channel.
We have
fuck.
more.
He's
Why do
slowly
you and
losing his
Azir
mind
both
about this.
plan to give me strokes? I mean, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, but strokes on stream, please.
Another subscriber. How many subscribers can we get in a day?
We're 3 away from 11K, so oh my god.
Let's get to that 11K.
Oh my
Let's do it,
God.
guys.
I'm
We're almost there.
I'm wearing my Apple Watch, and my heart rate's at 192 right now. Like I'm so fucking shit.
Give him a heart attack,
Please take a
literally.
breath.
I'm
Please
ready
actually
for
take a breath,
Lust.
okay?
Let's do it.
No.
Another chapter, another chapter, another chapter.
Hollow,
Hollow,
actually
you
take
be
a seat if
okay?
you need it, please.
Okay, so Sylvan,
Right, sit down
Sylvan
and
was a precursor for that. They donated 50, and then fucking fuck my life. Holy shit! What the fuck?
Okay.
Wolf, I need you to narrate as
Sylvan,
Liliana.
I just
for
wanted
next
to make
meeting.
sure that was it.
You know, you may request that now, but don't worry, you won't have to wait. It won't be
Okay.
next chapter, but I think you can
Okay.
wait for something.
Holy
Hey,
shit!
give yourself a break. It's
My-
fine.
Is over 200 heart rate okay?
Oh, no. So
Breathe
sit
and calm down.
Get away from your computer. Wolf it. We're all here. We're all. It's fine.
Go ahead.
Everybody's mature.
Oh my
We're
God.
Quote
Calm
unquote,
for a
a
bit.
whole month of planning from sleeping bag.
You knew about this?
No, he just told me.
Kyle's.
I just met. I was like, "What is this dono? What are you doing?" And they went, "It's a whole month of planning." Ulu.
I've
How is it
seen
possible?
Sleeping Bag donate $1,000 in the last few days to different streamers. Are you okay, man? What the fuck?
You're gonna be able to eat this mob sleeping bag. What the fuck?
Oh my god.
Single-handedly paid for this man's apartment.
Oh my. No, I paid for my new
Yeah,
apartment already.
I think it's about time I revealed something.
You knew about
You
it.
told me about all of this. Yep.
Kanda.
I have something.
An
I want to
infiltrator, an
admit.
infiltrator.
You're all
You're kinda
traitors.
sussy.
You're all traitors.
I have to tell you the truth. Yeah, I
That's
knew-
a
it was
little
part of-
sussy.
Look, I had a contract, and just like my wife, I couldn't say anything. Okay?
Same.
That's it.
Also a
Following
little
words.
sussy.
I cannot trust my friends anymore with keeping
Oh.
information from me.
I'm sick.
I'm
talking,
visibly
like,
shaking.
Reinhard
I'm
breakfast
actually
with something?
shaking.
That's
Dude,
a
what-
1,000
I
burgers.
literally broke them.
That's a lot of burgers.
Mimi gets so
Yo,
many
we just need, like, a
cheeseburgers.
small village for like a month.
It's time to do the money dance, where you dance with your money.
VA's having a talk after
Woo!
this. Serious
Anastasia's
He's
eyes
going to
lighting
attack
up.
me, chat.
Anastasia's losing her mind.
talk. Wherever Ali is right
Anastasia's
now.
like,
Money! Hoshin Company! Money! Money!
Money, woo!
She's like got the paper money. She's sniffing it. She's like, oh, the smell of money.
Anastasia will be like, only $500? That's it?
Yes.
I'm glad she's not here.
Oh my
Could have
god.
did that myself.
Holy fucking god.
That's crazy.
That's a whole month of me working as a wedding videographer.
Oh man,
God,
that's
that's gonna
ridiculous.
make-
Someone
that's my
said
head spin.
lightning purple and Kanda was injected. No, zero imposters.
Purple knew about it too?
Oh, I don't know.
I
That's
can't
just
be mad
someone's
at Purple.
comment.
I can be mad at you though, Lightning.
The Dark Triad.
Why?
Oh my-
Look, I figured you'd be
Oh.
happier later.
The monthly burger fund was a joke. Literally a joke.
Was it? Or was it all something we needed deep down?
I really didn't have anything else to put for a real goal, so I asked Nugget, what do you want the goal to be? And she said burgers. So I put monthly burger fund.
Silly
The
goal.
burger is the thing that connects you both, and
Yeah,
they
a
just
lot
cared
of-
about that
Okay.
connection.
You
Yeah,
guys,
serious
episode
connected
discussion.
everyone here.
Episode discussion, yeah. I've been HollowGraphic. I'm gonna fuck off real quick. Thanks, guys. Bye.
So you know, in the chapter, Sirius connected everyone here together, and now
literally
everyone in chat is being connected through the generosity of the fandom.
Oh no, he's starting. Wait, chat, close your ears. Don't start clapping.
This is your love.
I'm seriously debating just shutting down all donos for the rest of this month. Like, honestly, I feel so bad.
Just take the
You guys don't
compliment
need to
they
do
gave
this,
you.
guys. You
Being
guys
supportive.
so generous.
No
They
wonder
like your
sleeping
content.
Sleeping Bag's literally been like, "Oh, I'll come by next stream and I'll do XYZ," and I'm like, "Just come by and watch." And he's like, "Maybe I'll just watch your donate." And I'm like, "Dude,
Sleeping Bag
just
said,
watch."
You guys are so appreciated.
Be like, no, don't.
Oh
You
no,
guys
they're
are fucking
falling under
great.
your spell, Gold. Clapping.
This is true love.
Okay, so let me try to compose.
True
I'm
love.
sorry. I'm gonna try and compose myself as much as I can. Oh my fucking god! What's gonna blow my mind is I know that Insanity is coming back. And Bagel Bob is coming back when we hit 30 and beyond. So yeah, I'm shutting off donos for the rest.
Hollow, let them support you if they want to support you. You're a
This-
content creator
this
they
chapter.
enjoy.
Okay, this chapter.
You're allowed to have fun.
Time to get a streamer house with all the VAs.
Oh, dude, I'd be down.
Good
Like,
luck getting
dead
us in
ass.
the same time zone.
Dude, we'll be like the fucking, what is that one YouTuber? We'll be like the Paul brothers, but we'll actually be a
Oh,
decent channel. No.
No,
We'll be a decent channel that makes good content.
Content? What's that?
And we'll
Never
throw
heard
one
that.
or the other into a pool.
Okay, so a few
Everyone
points.
I don't know if I
Speak
want to
of
live with
Ahsoka.
Kanda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few points I want to just bring up that can be talking points.
Hello, Gold.
Fuck the reset.
You could talk about
They're-
the fact
fuck
that
me.
I was gonna say that Priscilla has been visibly paying
you,
attention
Lightning.
to every
Save
time.
this.
That,
Yeah.
no problem, I can do it. Priscilla's been paying attention every single time Subaru has died, and I think Wolf and Hollow, you mentioned the last time, Priscilla is actually like aware of Subaru's situation, or you mean like you know what I mean, right? Yes. Wolf.
She knows of
What do you
returning by
mean?
death.
Not that. Like Al.
Oh yeah, that might be it. Yeah,
Oh,
I think
yes,
she has a
there
sense.
is
I just want to make sure that I'm not spoiling it.
She has a sense of the fact that a Subaru is a special person, but she doesn't like
Yeah.
she doesn't like to like admit it.
Ignore
But she
it.
can tell that she's kind of connecting the dots that there's something going on with him every single time.
She's
something
observing
weird.
him because
Yeah.
him doing that random behavior out of nowhere is interesting to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It clearly is meaningful.
Yeah.
Unpredictable, and she
That's why
likes
she was observing him.
I'm saying she's aware of because I don't know. Is she aware of that situation? Like
Yes,
him
she
and
is. She was
Al?
in the
Yes?
carriage with.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in the
Al.
carriage when Al told
Yeah,
him.
so that's all I wanted to make
and
sure. So
presumably
knowing
Al
that,
has told her already about it.
I would already think she's paying attention. Well, other than forgetting him every now and again. I wonder if she'd be paying attention to the fact of his actions, because as we see, my theory was the way that this was going to go down or needed is the fact that he's going to need Priscilla involved in that, because she is so self-absorbed about herself that might be the only person who cannot be pulled in by such a trance. It's the only thing I can see out of this, and that would be whether or not she really does only care about herself. That'd be a great test of her character, but at the same time, there's
It's a risk that I think Subaru wouldn't be willing to take for
no, 100% no.
Yeah, it doesn't trust Priscilla.
This
no.
is the kind of sentiment he thinks about in these past couple chapters we've been reading, right? Is that how do I do this with as little deaths as possible? He's taking this from the approach of every time I die, I leave everyone behind.
Yeah, and what if Priscilla's careless enough to not care about everyone in the square? if
Which is
she's fighting?
highly possible. We can barely trust. Again, he put Larkins over the idea of having that woman involved. So yeah, no, I don't really think that's gonna be a high probability.
He definitely does not trust Priscilla at all. So
good.
I-
If he just completely submits to the fact that he can't do anything, hey Beatrice, can you just blow up that tower real quick? There's not much. Like it's basically choose to kill the child and Cirrus, or figure out a way to kill her, and now we know apprehend her.
this is also a problem though, because even with that, because he doesn't want to kill Losbel in this situation by doing that, he's not willing to sacrifice anyone.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stance he's taken now. He refuses to accept sacrifices. But
Here's a question: do you think that Beatrice will be affected by said thing? This is kind of just speculation now, because I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm just
because he calls it soul washing, right? Which makes you form the connection that it may have
I am
something
back.
to do with the soul itself.
Welcome.
Now,
Hello.
Beatrice is like an existence that has a form of a soul.
Good point.
How are you?
Before-
How's it going?
Before we go, well, yeah, yes. Anyway,
Are you
before
okay?
dude, listen.
Where's my picture of Hollow?
I'll get.
Friggin...
Lightning can tell you I freak out at like anything above $20 donations.
He does. That's why I like doing it to him.
Brain trembling.
It's because we do
Send
these
him, like,
we
30
do these
and go,
readings because like we're all so invested in the story. Like, oh,
Yeah.
fucking hell.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't do it for any sort of compensation in any of those types. This is very a passionate thing, you know. And it's amazing to see people willing to support us so much, and it's very touching to see everyone join in and comment and also like and also love these streams so
It's
very
gonna
much.
sound
It's
so
very captivating.
It's gonna sound so corny, but the main thing I look at when I review these streams is like the live chat if I miss anything, just to see the reactions, because that's like priceless shit.
Everybody
Like-
awe at the same time.
Yeah, we all read all your comments.
Before we continue, can you guys all also give a hand for the VAs? Please. Please acknowledge them. They are so
We get
talented.
W's.
And they are fucking crucial to this project. We couldn't have done this without, for one, Gold suggesting that we do this more professionally, organizing everything. Yeah, just please thank them too. Please. Thank you.
And thank you to you guys, too.
Yeah,
We're not reading chapter 23.
Yeah, this is the thing I look forward to the most of my week.
Thank you for casting us.
Sleeping Bag,
This is
Azir,
one thing I look forward to in my
Sylvan,
life.
Randy.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
You guys are getting really
Pat,
mushy.
ironically enough, people were talking about how it sounds like you were having like a theater performance. You mind telling people your background a bit so they're a bit more familiar with why you're so well spoken, I suppose?
Yeah. Not thankfully. I guess it's actually probably the worst subject I could have picked to study. But I studied theatre for 3 years, and just as I got out of it, COVID hit, which meant no theatre. So yeah, I haven't been able to actually do what I studied for over 2 years now, which is actually kind of depressing. But I have to say, this whole entire live reading thing has been just such a lifesaver. I feel so revitalized just doing this, and even just listening to it, it's just so good. And yeah, it just feels like I'm myself again to a certain extent.
It's great to have you on, Pat, as well as everybody else that's on here too.
We love
Azir
you,
with
Pat.
Azir with
Dang,
another
Pat, sorry, you almost made
donation.
me sad. Like I'm almost about to cry.
I don't even want to look at what Azir just donated. Oh my god, stop.
Oh my god, again?
Sylvan and
It was just $5. You're okay. This is all right. This is normal stuff. Act like we're starting from zero. We're taking.
Should I just be
words
like that
literally
one?
now.
Should I be like that one girl on Twitch? Like, you have all this time to watch me and not
Honestly,
5.
based off their 2 characters, they probably want you to do this. Go ahead, do it.
No, I'm not. Nah.
Do it.
Sleeping Bags literally told me he would donate excessive amounts of money to me just to see me freak out on stream. Like, it's a weapon at this point.
It is a weapon.
He's
Cash
threatening
can be
you
powerful.
with money.
And I don't expect this shit.
Kill you with money.
What did you guys cover though while I was on the phone with Nugget? Did you guys cover any like interesting points from the chapter? or were we
I just brought up Priscilla. Basically, we were kind of going over what Subaru could do. I asked Wolf about Beatrice, whether or not if he thinks it's gonna be affected. We kind of went over the fact that like Subaru can't trust somebody like Priscilla to get involved, and we had like the whole thing with Larkins.
So we're
I
mainly,
don't think I'm missing much.
we're mainly talking about what the next loop is gonna entail, for the most part.
Basically, yeah.
Well, let me.
So like the fight kind of entangles itself.
Let's-
Like you kind of get the gist.
Let's hit you with this. What do you think would be the optimal solution? To take her dead or to somehow eradicate her?
That'd be the same thing. So you said eradicate
Or
her?
take her alive. I said take her dead. My God.
I feel like it's like
I was just
Oh, go ahead.
You go there, Lightning Man.
I was gonna say, like, what is he gonna do? Like, throw her into space so she's far enough away
They all suffocate.
that whatever her influence. Yeah, that's the issue. Is how do you get her to disconnect from? These
Oh my
people?
God.
These literal chains.
Who is this? Limp but still useful. What kind of name is this? Thank you for the 50. That's
you're gonna break him.
Is that sleeping bag with another 5? Oh, fuck my life.
Guys, he can't handle this. You're only making it worse by not just taking it.
Okay,
You need to just take
Lightning.
it.
This is like you streaming or like Kiki. You have over 1,000 subs, right? Or like Kiki streaming, and somebody just waltzed in and they're like, "Hi, here's your month's rent."
Like, look, I freaked out, right? Because Sleeping Bag's done this to me
Kami,
already.
thanks for the
I just
5.
went, grabbed my guitar, I put my stupid hat on, put my dumb Naruto jacket on, and
Oh
then just
my
played
God,
the
there's
G notes
more.
and thanks. You can't.
Wait, there's
if-
more.
playing off of you.
You guys want me to dance like a monkey? I'll dance like a monkey. Here, give me
Oh
a
my
second.
goodness.
Give me a second.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily mean dancing like a monkey, but there we go.
Is this even tuned?
Look,
Oh, are you gonna do Riptide?
sounds nice.
No, that sounds really good.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm surprised how well he can actually kind of play that.
I can't believe you can play the ukulele so well.
I gotta start. HollowGraphic was actually well versed in the ukulele.
Ah, dude, what it? Hold on, I need to get my tuner.
The story background.
I used to play a long time ago. I have a signed koa ukulele by Jake Shimabukuro, if you know who that is.
Holy shit. Donos keep on coming in.
What is wrong with all of you guys? Oh my god.
What
you
is
guys are
wrong
insane.
with you? Oh, hey, look, it's Trunks.
Donks.
Yeah, it's gonna be
This is
historical.
very stonks right now. It's gonna be a historical stream. You guys are killing
Dude,
it.
the last thing I played on this was for my 2017 talent show. I played Wanted Dead or Alive.
Yo, if I do the Liliana
dude.
singing, you
Do you know
be
the
my
Rip-
instrument,
Do you know
baby.
Riptide lyrics?
Ooh.
We can do
No,
Riptide.
no, I don't.
Yes. We're gonna bring up 2012 again.
Yeah, dude.
Whenever it was.
I was scared of dentists and the dark. If you want to pop in, Kyle's.
And Mike is cutting out all the time.
Kill
Yeah,
me!
you're cutting out. Otherwise, I would.
Sleeping bag with 20 more I think it's peaking when I... Oh my god.
I think it's just a mixture of singing and playing at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel
Tags,
like...
mind break.
I feel like Sleeping Bag
All
is...
because of Lefty.
I feel like Sleeping Bag's deadass like robbing a bank as we speak, and he's like, put more money in the bag! I need to donate more!
I gotta donate right now.
You guys are all insane. You guys don't need to do this whatsoever.
I told
And
them
I'm
Make sure
saying
you
this,
can
and I'm
pay
not the
your
streamer,
rent.
but still.
Welcome to Gardens, Maddie Ice to Ish.
I love
Oh.
the difference you can tell in Hollow's character from this. Hollow's reaction is so wholesome to this. I
What,
would just
what
be
do you
making fun of
expect
guys.
me to do?
Oh no! I'm just saying because I'm a terrible person. I'd be making fun of my chat. That's what I'm saying.
What?
I'm terrible. You're not.
To
Die.
answer
Good.
your question, no, we're not doing chapter 23 to my knowledge. I'd like to. But...
Garfield Tinsel, I have to dip in like 15 minutes, so no, we cannot do chapter 23. I don't think I have...
I also haven't eaten today, so I need to fix that soon.
Yes, you need to fix
Yeah.
that. But I will say what we could do, because next weekend, if time allots for it, I know that we're going to have... we can't do tomorrow because some people have scheduling conflicts. We could do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday stream if everybody is down for it. Fridays are the hardest days to schedule, especially if we have people that are in the GMT time zone with the EST people, since everybody's available in the afternoon. Not to call anybody out, but yeah, it'll be
call people out.
yeah, it's a bit harder. Sleeping bag, no. The goal was $750. Stop.
Oh my god, it's
People
200.
have
Let's
spoken.
fucking go.
The
Oh my
people
God.
have spoken.
If I made the goal Hollow cosplays as Rem, I guarantee you, like,
How did this
100%.
happen?
I don't
Why
know.
would once just stop saying these bets? Just say you'll get like a Rem figure or something. Just
I have 4 Rem figures.
No, like something like some like $100 one. That's what I'm saying. You gotta make
Wait,
better
wait,
bets
wait,
in
wait,
your chat.
wait. We
Send
have
you my
everyone-
wig.
For everyone who just joined, by the way, when we started the stream, the goal was at $361. Now
Oh
look
my
where we're
god.
at now.
Swoljito with the 5. Go check out Swoljito on Instagram. The dude or on Twitter.
Twitter.
Dude
on
makes
Twitter, he
great
does
art.
on Twitter.
My profile picture on Twitter is done by the man himself.
So you wanted to be a straight bet, yes.
You don't need to do that. You're the artist. You should be getting paid to make stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
as another artist to an artist, get paid.
Well, let's wrap this up with one more topic, and I think we can just devolve into basic conversation and then end this stream off before anything else goes awry. The main thing I want to hear about is what your thoughts are on like the desperation Subaru's feeling now that Reinhard isn't the answer for this
This is gonna
dilemma.
be horror. This has to be terrifying. This is like the one thing you thought you could rely on, as he says himself, and now that is taken away from him immediately.
Doesn't work.
You see throughout this chapter, you know, his confidence in Reinhard wavering and then dipping and then peeking back again and then dipping and then peeking back again. It was like he being like, "Oh yeah, Reinhard can fix any solution. Good thing I thought of him." And then it's like, "Wait, Reinhard's affected by Sirius's authority." And then it's like, "No, but look at how good he is at fighting, though." And then it's like, "Oh, and then he killed her. So now that means that everyone will die. So I can't rely on him.
Mhm.
And what do I do now?"
It's like he's too powerful for his own good.
Can I put forward a theory?
Yes.
So I was just been thinking about this now in the head, and usually when Liliana has been singing, it's been said she has like a hypnotic sort of singing voice.
Right.
So I was thinking if they use that sort of the speaker system, the magic system, and played Liliana singing, could that counter the authority that Sirius has?
That kind of goes to the point of if it's gonna work over a loudspeaker like that, which I don't know personally, but it's
they talked about it actually a few.
I mean, no,
chapters
it's been proven to work before.
Yeah.
Then it
It's
could
like
be a way to
but
fix
no, that
it.
was like very good way to. You were paying very good detail to what's happened previously because I just.
I mean, we've also
right.
mentioned the allegory between their two, like the way they control people, right? Previously, so that is certainly something that I could see being a possibility.
Right.
Actually, like really good because they're really most of the
also
parallels
just-
right now is Liliana and Sirius right now. They're the parallels.
I think the irony of Subaru having to rely on Liliana to do something could be very funny.
Yeah, imagine like bragging Liliana, "Hey, sing over here." It's like
I'm Liliana.
Wolf, who's easier to get to work with you? Would it be Priscilla or would it be Liliana?
It would be Liliana. Come on.
All right.
I don't know about that.
Bribe her and be like, "Yo, I'll tell you all my
what?
stories and shit. Just come with me."
Subaru, don't you want to look at my guitar? No,
What
I
are
don't want
we-
to look at your guitar. We have 15 minutes.
Well, what are we gonna do? Because we already read Lust If. Should we read Wrath If just because? Because I mean,
I would pre-record.
Yeah, I don't know.
There are no spoilers for Raph.
I'm up to reading anything with you
that's.
guys.
I think I know that one. Then.
We should honestly, for a gift to the community after all this kind support, do stuff like that for sure, definitely.
a lot of people have been
That would be
asking
cool.
for Pride, Wrath, Lust. We did that today and never again. And the Rem If Sloth.
Depending
glad you
on
voice acted.
Hollow's opinion, we could do what we're planning to do for a specific chapter in Arc 5.
I already know about it. Yeah.
And we could, put a lot of production value into the Wrath if we really want to.
Andre, so
you read that chapter?
I haven't read it yet, no. So in the chat, Andre's saying we could do break times. Funny story about break times.
Who's gonna break the news?
That's not.
If we do break time, what I'll do is I'll just release them on my public server, and I'll just release them in the raw MP3 form or in a Google Drive.
If you have a Patreon, you can also put it on your Patreon, but
I'm giving it to them for free. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna have them pay for it.
No. As in, I'm pretty sure there's a way you can put it so it's on your Patreon page that
Don't
people
you-
can just view anyway.
Can you just upload it? I thought it had to be on Vimeo. No.
No, I am pretty fucking sure you can just do it.
I think
so,
there's
like,
now a
Patreon only really makes you like.
Oh my god.
I think it only makes you hide stuff if it's like not safe for work.
Read the
Outside
Lust
of that, I
If
think it'd be
seriously.
okay.
You can pre-record it.
To be honest with you, I'd very much prefer just doing the Wrath If.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, that'd be cooler.
Which
I don't know what I
if
missed.
If we do actually put a lot of production value into it, that would be. Really
Which
cool.
if is short hair, Amelia? What if is that?
Greedif. Castaneru. Greedif.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
If you're
But
broke, I
that
got
was
you.
Arc 5.
Is there anything else you guys want to bring up before we end stream?
You guys
Who
are
do
crazy.
you guys think is
You guys
going to
are
be the
nuts.
person? Who's going to be the person that's going to help this out, Chad? Everybody who you don't have an idea. Who do you think's going to get Subaru out of this mess? Will Subaru get himself out of this mess? Will it be
Find out
Goku?
next time on
Or will
Dragon
he ever
Ball
get out
Z.
of this mess?
Find out
Is this-
next
is this
time
where the
on
story
Dragon
ends?
Ball Z. Dun, 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 dun,
The break time was one that got copyright struck. Yeah. All right. Thank you for everybody for coming to the stream, especially because we had a little later of a start. Completely my bad. I scheduled time so wrong for this thing. But thanks for sticking around after Lust If into these 3 chapters. It's been
Uh-huh.
great having over 150 people concurrent. So thank you for
guys are
coming out.
Amazing.
Yeah. Power of friendship.
Thank
You're all wonderful.
Be on the lookout.
Yeah, Kashi, I think
Be on the
I'm
lookout
good.
for a community tab post. I'm gonna be posting, a little, I guess, vote as to what you guys want us to read. Lust If isn't gonna be on there. I'm sorry. We've done it already.
I don't think we
God.
could put the will through to do it seriously, to be honest.
Very
Yeah.
We could do it meme and kind of silly because it's something we can make fun of, but I think
Yes.
trying to do it seriously is kind of a bit. It's not fair on some people.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
If you guys want, I'm putting in the link to the Discord. We keep having new people join, so if you guys want to stop by, please feel free to. I'm very active there, but only for WaifuBot. Don't expect to interact with me.
Won't trade.
Not
No,
until
he's already
I
won.
beat Lalo. No.
But you'll
Alright.
give me Rem, right?
I will give you Rem if I roll her.
Just trade me Saber.
Thank you all for coming out. Big hand to the VAs, everybody who narrated today, played a part today. Give a hand for Jace for being the sound director. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next stream. And hopefully we can have another big turnout and we won't be late this time around. But thank you guys for all coming out. And this has been HollowGraphic and Friends. If you guys want to say anything, you can say it now. We're going to end off stream.
Hey guys.
Thank you all for stopping by and for giving Hollow a heart attack. That was funny. Bye.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
All right, everyone. Until next time, Jane. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my god, I'm dying.